Let's get started.
Here we go. Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this. Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live, yo.
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
For the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
Experience.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
It's a goddamn glaze fest up in here. Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
Good day.
Shalom!
Motherfuckers. That's what I was going to go with.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. This week, we're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions of this, that, and the next. Kamar, new patrons to go over before we start the show?
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in this week. For you, if you're new here, the Patreon is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me and my family. Please join, like, and subscribe. Hit that smash button. Big shout out to Devin Beaucaire. Let's go.
What
What up, Devin?
Christian Tapia
What up, Christian?
Tapia.
and Bike Maker and Scoots.
Bike Maker back
Maker.
again.
I love that
And
one.
Scoots? Is
That's
that
like a
one-
meme.
That's two people or?
Well, I bet Scoots is too young to be a Patreon, so it's probably just
Yeah,
symbolic.
Scoots is
I'm
that's
sure
a listener.
Bike
Yeah.
Maker is the adult. In
Maybe
the
Scoots
situation.
is a dog.
Unless
Well,
Scoots and
It's one of Mike Baker's kids, right? Scooter.
Oh, Simon.
So maybe.
in any event, thank you so much for joining the Patreon, guys. It really helps so much, and it's really the only way you can support the podcast.
Kamar's a little verklempt talking about it.
Okay, I'll be all right.
You want to go over the guest list this week, Kamar, so we can do what we do here?
Love to. Thanks for asking, buddy. 2153, Dave Smith, Libertarian. 2154, Remy Warren.
Dave Smith, Libertarian.
Followed by Return of the King, 2155. And finish up with a very interesting discussion
Who's
about
the
AI,
king?
2156. Oh, Brian Redban.
Thank you.
Like, you didn't know, Simon?
Well, it just didn't make sense.
2155, Return of the King, Brian Redban.
Brian Redban.
And 2156, Jeremy and Eduard Harris. They really went out of their way to spell those names weird.
I think their parents went out of their
It
way.
might just be Jeremy and Edward Harris.
Tough week to rate.
Brothers from the same mothers.
Tough week to rate.
I give it a 2.5.
Just right down the middle, huh?
There were 4 episodes?
Yeah, 4, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably match Kamar's 2.5, unfortunately.
I think I'll probably go a little lower. Maybe like a 2.25.
Keeping them honest.
All right.
But if you hit the button, I wouldn't
No, well, we're not hitting the button.
complain about it.
All right, Kamar, let's start this bad boy off. Cheeks. It's okay.
2153, Dave Smith, back in town. I feel bad because I should have called this. I remember listening to a episode of The Skanks where he was discussing that he was on his way down here. So I dropped the ball on that. Sorry, guys.
Well, if you had never told us, we wouldn't have known.
Oh, I was talking to the listeners.
But they also would not have known. But I like your honesty, Kamar.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
Do you guys think you've had the same opinion of homeless or those unhoused people or whatever you want to call it
What do you mean, do I have the same opinion?
As who? As what?
when you were 15 to now?
I mean, I never wanted to go hang out with them, if that's what you mean.
No, but when you're a kid, they're sort of just scary. You sort of veer out of them, and then they're just in.
That's what I mean. I didn't want to hang out with them then, and I don't want to hang out with them now. So,
But if they want to sleep in the streets, that's their right. They should be allowed to do that.
I mean, it wasn't such a big deal when there weren't so many of them. Once it becomes like a nuisance to the city, then I think you probably have to relook at. It's probably not a good look, anyways.
I mean, listen, I've had this discussion before where it's like it's tough to argue that you have a free country if you're then going to be like, but you have to have a home.
Yeah. So
right? Like, here's the thing, like Joe,
but
like,
that's sort of what they start off talking
No, but
about.
you can go out and live in the woods if you want.
no, but you see, that's the difference. It's a weird thing where it's like, we don't mind you living out in the woods alone. You
Yeah.
cannot live in the city
Yeah.
without a home alone.
Yeah.
See, it's a weird, you see what I'm saying? It's,
No, I'm not sure
It's
I
hypocritical.
do.
I believe
Like,
you're saying.
well, what's the difference?
well, you're not going to become a nuisance to the function of the city. And if you become a nuisance to the function of the forest, then they'll implement rules, which I'm sure exist anyways. Like, I bet you can't be a homeless person in the forest.
Again, though, why?
Probably because they're worried you're going to burn it down when you're making fires willy-nilly. That would be one. You're probably going to be hunting animals that aren't in season. Two.
Well, how about this? What do we do right now? We have we are I think the most expensive country in the world to live in, or the second most expensive country in the world to live in right now. Like I read today, and this can't be true, but apparently Hamilton is the most expensive city to live in the world. That's what I said.
I want to say something funny.
It's a shithole.
But is it like homelessness is just the price of doing business? That's what happens when you have a capital society. You're going to have.
No, but you can't say that because there weren't that, like, if you go back 30 years, we didn't have the homeless problem we have now.
It's like this growing thing.
The government should probably offer some sort of like super basic housing to anyone who can't afford it. Do you like that?
Yeah, if you're asking me if I like affordable housing,
No, not even affordable. Like, because if you don't have a job, you can't afford anything. So, but just to make sure people aren't on the street, it's better that we house you in these.
What about asylum?
Like,
Well, here's the
you wanna
problem,
put
though.
people in hospitals.
Well, that's what happened, and I think they shut all those down, and that's when
that was in New
homeless
York.
thing started.
I think
there's a big problem with what you're saying, though. Like, when you're like, should the government is us. You're asking if we should all foot the bill so that, like,
Well, you foot the bill for medical. You know what I mean? You don't flinch at that.
we all use that. You will use it at some
I
point.
mean, you may use it at some point too. Like, hopefully you're never homeless, but you never know. That's the whole thing, right?
Okay, but the difference is like what you said is like if you have no desire to work, you're not going to go out and even make an effort. Now you're just asking every other hardworking Canadian to just pay for you to live. Well,
And sorry, yes, I hear you. But just back to what Kamar was saying, like, I see it now. I missed it then. But how many of these people are mentally ill? Like, how many people are living on the street because they can't afford a house? And how many? I bet you it's way more mentally ill people than.
I assume it's a ton of mentally ill people. Yeah.
So maybe asylum is the answer.
But that seems cruel.
Does it? You're
Well,
helping people get better?
Well, we stopped doing it is his point.
Well, for some reason,
Because it obviously did seem. I mean, I think the problem is that we found that there were many issues in those places.
Well, yeah, and if you're doing like electroshock therapy, like I'm talking
Well, that's a
about
big
having
problem,
like
too.
group sessions,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so they were in there and they
You
were
do
torturing
yoga.
them and doing experiments on them, probably.
Well, the shit just wasn't very like. First of all, they didn't know as much as they know now. Like, you could probably change a lot of these people's lives, according to Joe Rogan, with some good exercise.
I'm with you. It goes back to freedom. Like the idea that what we're saying is like, should we somewhat lock up people who are mentally ill? Because that's what we're doing. We're forcing them to go somewhere for treatment for their own good and at the end of the day, for the best of society, because you can't just have city streets littered with homeless people.
And just to make a point, we're very fortunate here in our city, being the capital of a smaller country. Like other places, it's much worse. I don't think we have any encampments here, but we have some pockets where
I mean,
it's
the
gone
market
worse.
too. The market is pretty
Yes.
fucking bad.
Well, that's
The
what I'm
market is.
So yeah, they didn't have a solution either. Joe is friends with multiple.
Well, I think we
billionaires.
came up with a solution. You're going to hospitalize a lot of these people.
We're gonna go back, try it again.
But again, you have to force them into it.
It's still gonna cost a lot of money too.
Well, nothing. Okay, but we already throw money at every problem.
Well, this is it.
Correct?
Like
Like if
billions of dollars they spend on trying to end it, but it's just a ongoing thing
Like we learned during COVID, the money's always there. You would
for somebody.
so you would think that like we could if we really wanted to, we could solve this problem. Especially in a,
Those were the good old days, eh?
yeah, we just throw money at everything,
Just
print a ton of
stay
it.
home and we'll pay you.
Stay home while we print a ton of money behind your back. But if we could, like, our country is small enough where, like you're saying, we should be able to tackle the problem.
Yes, it seems like it would be scalable.
Or you know who should be able to tackle the problem? Ottawa.
Well, yeah, all the resources in the world exist right here.
We don't have a problem that's like totally out of control. Like I see some of these places, like it's not as easy as what we're talking about here. You could probably go up to a lot of these people and convince them to go to your spa, in air quotes. You know what I'm saying?
Simon's already on some CIA shit over here. Yeah.
No, not at all. I'm saying like if you sell it to them as you're going to a mental hospital, nobody's going to want to go. But if you sell it to them as like this place is awesome, it's free rent, you get 3 meals a day, you get yoga, you get this, you get that. There's a little bit of shock therapy.
Come to the Canadian
A
government.
couple of you aren't going
Come to the Canadian government's fentanyl spa. You'll love it. That's how they advertise
Well,
it.
it's a methadone. I don't know, man. Listen, whatever they're doing now isn't working. So,
But I think it's like a weird compassion thing we're doing.
Well, it's listen. The problem is, yes, it is a compassion thing, but it's also rent. Like in this city, do you know how much a 1-bedroom apartment is?
yeah, it's very expensive.
It's fucking heinous. It's like, no, I can't see a minimum wage worker working 40 hours a week being able to do much more than pay rent, food.
100%. 100%.
I was watching a thing where it showed grocery bill in like the 80s
It's insane.
compared to now. It is like food and stuff used to be like
Dude, I saw even, I'll go
you'd be
one.
getting change when you buy butter.
I'll go one crazier. They showed McDonald's prices 2019. Okay, so just pre-COVID versus today. It's up like 800% on some items. It's fucking heinous. Like a medium fry was $1.99 pre-COVID. Right now it's like $5.34 or something.
What?
No joke. They were showing like the cheeseburger. They were like used to be $1.39 or whatever pre-COVID. Now it's like $2.86.
No, but
or
this
something like
shows you how fucking greedy all these companies are because it goes up because the supply chain got fucked up.
Yeah, that's their story.
Well, even if that's the case, Matt, even if the supply chain gets fucked up, which maybe it does in a time where things are shut down, then it goes back to normal, then prices should fall back to normal. They don't stay at the inflated price.
You're not thinking about the shareholders, Simon.
I told you, I read an article the other day that said that inflation by and large has gone back to pre-COVID levels, but it's 65% of the prices today are just corporate greed. That's it. It's just they were like, they will pay. We know they'll pay. They paid.
Why should we go back?
Because if you think about it, Simon, McDonald's is actually the perfect example of a company where, okay, you have 2 months, 3 months of, the fuck was the word you used? Supply chain issues, okay?
Okay.
You can weather that. You're McDonald's. You should weather that for your customers. You're supposed to be the affordable option. You want to stay affordable. The idea behind McDonald's was never a family of 4 can't afford this. The idea of McDonald's is any family of 4 at any budget should be able to afford this.
I mean, in all fairness, Matt, they do have to pay Lil Yachty to do their commercials.
Sure.
So that's got to be a big chunk.
I'm just saying, like, it's
it's fucking ridiculous. This whole and this is when this type of shit gets so out of control, that's when like people get real skittish. You know what I'm saying? When you can't afford, like literally can't afford bread and milk anymore.
Listen, the Canadian government is well aware that we are currently, as a group of 36 million people, we are supposed to all be at Parliament's door right now, tearing the fucking door down.
Yeah.
And we're not. We're all
Can't.
just
It's
stuck on
under
our fucking
renovation.
phones.
You know what we are trying to do is not shop at Loblaws. And like I said last week, imagine if that actually could work, where enough people could get together and make a difference when a company is being tyrannical.
You know what's
Vote with your thumb.
what's funny though is like,
We could do it.
well, it's funny because we're talking about capitalism and like I don't know, the government bails out so many of these companies. They'll bail Loblaws out. They wouldn't let Loblaws fail,
Of course not.
which is insane. If Loblaws is a bad business, we should be able
Well,
to.
what
put
about
them-
the jobs and the shareholders?
But that's my point. Is they're all fucking tied up in it. because we should put Loblaws out of business. And then when the next guy comes along, he goes, if I price gouge bread, they're going to put me out of business and I'm going to lose all my equity and value. And I don't want that. So I'm going to keep prices.
Yeah, we cannot keep the market honest anymore. And the market has to be kept honest. Like that's the whole idea of free
checks and
capital,
balances,
right?
yeah.
There has to be these checks and balances. As above, so below. This is since the start of time, and it applies to this system as well. Like there's no free ride. There's no action without consequence.
It also bothers me though, because you hear Joe talk about it, and because Joe assumes we're going to come after his money. Like the redistribution of wealth is done through taxation. Now, I hate taxes, but I'm not talking about taxing normal people. I'm talking about taxing corporations and mega billionaires like Elon Musk. I'll go back to it. Elon Musk had to pay that $84 billion tax bill a couple years ago. And I understand if I'm Elon Musk and I'm giving the US government $84 billion and I know they're going to squander said money, I'm pissed too. But guess what? You made $400 billion. So,
and
Amazon, Jeff Bezos.
Need I remind you? Everybody forgets about this, but look it up. Check my receipts. Elon Musk was on the verge, Tesla was on the verge of bankruptcy, and the American government gave them untold $1 billion.
Yeah, dude, listen.
Okay, so if he's got to pay a little bit back now that like they gave him the money, he bet it all on black, he won, and he's like, well, you gave me the money.
Yeah, look, I think if you work hard, you should be able to enjoy the riches. But what we've got, the system we've created has allowed people to become bigger than governments, bigger than fucking all of it. And they're literally controlling everything now.
Well, you can see a guy like Logan Paul comes in, makes all this money through like the new media or whatever, and then just fucks off to Puerto Rico, pays zero taxes back to his country, which you need these young millionaires to pay those. Like otherwise it doesn't work.
Well, I mean, he gets no vote now.
Is that right?
Yep.
I mean, I'd gladly give up my vote for no taxes.
This is a nice socialist
is that
idea.
What we're talking about?
Well, I'm just saying that's the whole idea is when you go to Puerto Rico, it's no taxation without representation. So because you don't pay taxes, Puerto Rico doesn't have an electoral vote. You don't get to vote in presidential elections.
They're like the crowd vote. Their one country vote counts.
I don't even know if it does. But the point is like I'm with you. If you were like, hey, you can't vote tomorrow, my vote doesn't matter anyway.
You know what I would say? Woohoo! Suck it.
A company like Coke,
Yeah.
it's probably self-sustaining now.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone at the top could take their $100 billion payout, and then it becomes almost like it's run by AI. So it only exists so everyone working there makes money.
Well, what about all the shareholders?
They're gone.
Everybody
they
gets
all get a
paid off?
payout, and then it's just like if McDonald's could just run. It doesn't need to.
I'm
have
not
that,
sure
does
if
it?
these companies could pay out all their shareholders and still, like, is that, you don't have that much money on your company at one time. You know what I mean? It's like a bank. If everybody ran and sold their shares of that company at the same time, it would probably bankrupt the company, no?
Of course it does. That's how bankruptcy works.
Yeah.
The stock goes to zero.
No, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like unless the company is like Apple and has so much capital that
Apple doesn't have enough
It's going
capital.
to be changed to Apple soon.
Yeah, probably.
That's how big they are.
They don't have enough money to pay off all the shareholders. They don't have.
We're in
they would need
a state of Apple.
They would need $2.9 trillion to pay off the outstanding.
Well, Apple,
market cap.
out of all the companies I know, is very like cash.
They're very cash rich. Yeah.
Cash rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
cash that doesn't exist.
the cash that doesn't exist.
But you got to realize Apple also operates somewhat as a bank now. So right, because they control a lot of the cards on the fucking in the States, a lot of the cards run through their system, which means they're collecting fucking points off everything. So Apple, in a way, is like I said, they were gonna do cars and TVs, and they were like, fuck this.
You know how I said before that like if all of us decided pick a company, Red Bull is a piece of shit. We don't like their ethics. We don't like what they're doing. This charging us $5 a can is ridiculous. Remind me to tell you a Red Bull story after this.
Okay, it's not piss if that's what you're.
No.
Okay. Just go talk. Forget the Red Bull. You were on about if we decided a company was unethical.
We don't like them.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. Everybody stops going. We could do the same thing with
Go on.
what were we talking about
Loblaws.
before?
I don't know.
Loblaws could probably run itself at this
Coca-Cola.
point. Galen Weston, just fuck off, take your money. Or people get dividends anyways.
I got distracted by the stupid Red Bull.
Yeah. Well, you
analogy.
distracted yourself.
I
there.
know I do that.
Because I was
man.
whispering
don't know.
sweet nothings at you.
I'm not fucking old man of the sea. Who wrote that?
It wasn't Hemingway. Was it
Hemingway. Yeah,
it was
like I'm
Hemingway.
not Hemingway. I don't need to describe every little thing to you guys, but I get caught in these.
Joe.
Kamar, hold on. Though. I want to go back to your. Like, so let's just play this out for a second. Okay, let's say in your world, Coke does have enough money somehow.
Oh, that's right.
To pay everyone, all the shareholders off. And in your world, they don't need a marketing team. They don't need CEOs. They don't need anyone running the business, right? You said
Maybe they don't. Maybe
No,
I'm
I know.
dumb. That's why I was floating.
Kamar,
it out there.
I'm playing. I'm trying to play your scenario
all
out
these
here.
things
It's
are
all
sort of
done by
automatic
AI.
at this point.
Yeah. So the AI they have is self-sustaining. I guess maybe it needs a little bit of upkeep or updates here and there but this is my point. So where does the profit from Coke go? It all goes to
Everyone that works for the company makes a.
but who now works for the company?
The bottlers, the truck drivers, the.
What isn't AI? If AI is running the company, the first things to go are the bottlers and the truck drivers. Are they not? Yeah, I don't think it
Yes,
usually
100%.
doesn't usually go the
Well,
other
I
way
mean,
around.
It's interesting you say that because that's going to come up in the other episode, but I don't see it. But everyone's talking that literally every job is just going to be eliminated. So, I mean, maybe that's how it's going to happen anymore. But I feel like the problem with companies always having to grow is to answer to the shareholder. But I'm sure companies could be self-sustaining and not have to growth if they did not have to.
Even if they have to make money for the shareholders, you're going to watch that AI do things that probably even humans wouldn't do because it's more efficient, and that's going to lead to immediate.
Well, we're on our way out.
It's going to cut people out of the equation, and that's not going to be good. For the
Listen,
populace.
We know that most companies, their biggest piece of overhead is salary.
salary and rents. That's going to be the.
With the exception of Apple, who maybe R&D. R&D might be their. Maybe.
See, I feel like if you look at Apple,
But again,
they could not become this like autonomous company. I'm just talking about like really simple McDonald's.
Every company could become totally autonomous.
Well,
if
no,
it was in
like
their
you
best
said,
interest.
video games couldn't. You'd have to have people.
I mean, Kamar, here. Listen,
AI will be
movie
able to
stu-
make
movie
video
studios-
games in no time.
Wow, that's
Just wait until we get to this next.
this is a
fucking
different
thing.
discussion.
But wait, let me go backwards for a second.
Sure.
The reason when I got lost on my Red Bull analogy,
Yeah.
my point was so. We all decide that Loblaws is no good, Red Bull is no good. We boycott them. They're a bad company, and we put them out of business as the people. As the people, we could decide to run the banks.
Oh yeah,
If you had enough young, if you had enough like people, forget even young people, but enough people run the banks, you could put this whole thing into a state of like insane flux. Like if we did like a Project Chaos from like Fight Club, whatever that was called, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we just started
blowing up banks.
and you know who does that? People who have nothing to lose, people without children, which seems to be everybody right now.
a lot
You
of
know
people,
what I
yeah.
mean? Because for the first time in forever, it really is too expensive to have children. Like it was always just an excuse people use.
No, now it's for real.
Now
I'm
it's
so glad
for
it caught up
real,
to me.
real. When diapers are more expensive than fucking
Dude, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart,
as expensive as gas, you know?
most people can't afford a dog.
But how did we
Dude,
survive?
dogs are so fucking expensive.
How did we survive before diapers? I always wonder that.
Cloth diapers.
Yeah.
And we just became. That's too disgusting for me to deal with.
Well, it's not convenient enough. And
It is
there's
also pretty fucking
And there's
gross.
two
But diapers are a problem.
diapers are disgusting too, Matt.
Spending money
Like,
on
you know
diapers,
what I
throwing
mean?
diapers
Yeah, but you just
out,
throw a
like,
diaper out is the point.
But it
Because
doesn't
we stopped.
disappear. It goes to landfill.
We stopped caring about whether there were going to be giant mountains of garbage. Like at some point, they said there's this many people, it's going to cost us this much money to dispose of this thing in a proper fashion. We'll just build a mountain of garbage.
I remember my parents tried it for my siblings.
That's what a dump
2 months
is.
later, they're like, fuck
That
this.
is what a dump is.
You
Yeah.
know that in, like, we've been over this a million times in Amsterdam or whatever, in places where they don't have room for the dumps, they figure out other ways to do it. They burn the garbage. It probably cost them a shit ton.
No, they make it all back. It's
Yeah,
energy.
you know, and then you're just like, well, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, why aren't we doing this? Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry, but we, as the people, I'm telling you, it's never happened.
Part of
Well,
the
it
pro-
happened like back in like the French Revolution and shit, but it's been a long time since that happened. People can only be pushed so far.
Simon, part of the problem is that our country's so big. Like a lot of the European problems we talk about, it's because getting the garbage from all the major cities is like an hour drive.
Sorry, repeat that, Matt. I'm sorry.
I'm saying that in our country, all the cities are so spread out. Our country is so vast that like the shipping and movement of garbage alone is a carbon footprint. It's a lot of it. I'm not saying it's not doable, but I'm saying someone along the line crunched the numbers and said it's going to cost us 4 cents more to do this, so we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe, what I'm saying is like, take a country like Denmark, where you can probably drive from any major city to any recycling plant in like an hour, 4 hours, whatever the fuck it may be, 3 hours for all the major cities. It's a lot more doable is all I'm saying. Our country is very large. That's what I'm getting at.
I agree, but I think that when you look at the amount of upkeep that's required to take care of these dumps, to fund the dumps, to have people work at the dumps, and then the fact that you have just piles of garbage sitting out in your, like, that can't be good.
No, it can't. No, but
So some people listening might wonder what this has to do with Dave Smith.
hold on.
Maybe
Sorry, back to
justified
Dave
of doing
Smith.
that. Joe is friends with multiple billionaires.
yeah, but
And
we
he's-
knew that.
And he's
Yeah.
ride or die with Elon.
Oh yeah.
I swear in my existence, every single day, money, lack of money being is part of conversation, whether it be jokingly or serious. What conversations do you have when that's not in you don't think about money?
I don't know. I've never reached that point, but maybe one day I will, and I'll know what true, like, the fuck's going on?
Am I dying? Oh no.
What was that?
Whoa.
Well, I don't know. We're good.
Terrence Howard.
That must be like what, when Brian told Joe, like, true freedom is not having to worry about
Yeah.
how much something
Dinner,
is on
yeah.
the menu. I think Joe's probably right. It's rent. Like, when you don't have to worry about like coming up with that nut every month to imagine the just sigh that you
No.
could release from your body. Like, I bet you that's what makes everybody sick. And I'm being serious. Like,
That's stress
if we
and
didn't,
anxiety.
yeah, man. And look, we'd stress about other things, but that one, the making sure you have a roof over your head and you can eat,
Hierarchy of
those
needs.
ones are like
It's pretty big. Yeah.
pretty big. Anyways,
We put a big premium on a whole bunch of stuff that isn't really in that hierarchy.
like,
Well, what is it? It's shelter, food,
Clothes.
clothes, love and affection, family, and then iPads, social media, like all that other stuff has.
well, friendship, like I could see like going out and doing something.
Yeah, entertainment's
maybe is-
important.
But again, if you're
It's
out with your,
further away from the base. You need shelter.
but
Yeah,
you
but
certainly don't need an iPad.
You don't.
Except you do now, right? Like, everybody has to have a phone.
Well, it's funny because if you think about it, like, people are like, when you hear people like, why don't they just go out and get a job? It's like, well, first of all, to get a job now, you need, the only resumes people are taking are online. Like it's rare that you're going to walk into a place and drop off a printed resume. Like most places are going to say, send us your resume. So
Yeah.
like, I saw this thing, this guy, this rich guy was like, I'm going to go live homeless for a year on the streets. And I'm going to prove to everyone that you can go from zero to like successful in a year.
He's already rich.
No, but the whole point was like, my bank account's going to sit at zero. Like I have no money. I'm not going to do this. Like he's like, I've paid my rent for the year. My apartment's going to sit empty. He's Airbnb it or whatever the fuck. 3 months in though, he has some health issues, and he's like, I'm stopping the thing, and everyone was like, buddy, this is the point you're missing. Like, homeless people don't get to just tap out when their health goes. Like, you're still living on the street, and you're nowhere close to the $100,000 goal you had. Like, and then he did this video where he was like extrapolating, like, well, if I had kept going, I was on pace for the 100 grand, no problem. And people are like, this isn't how this works. Like, that's not how life works. Like, it doesn't. I don't know. Anyway, back to Dave Smith. Life is tough.
Anyways, back to you.
Well, no,
Kumar.
life is tough, and rent. Like, dude, when rent is unattainable for most people, forget buying a house. If you can't afford a 1-bedroom apartment, like,
Yeah.
I hope we become more successful so we can know what it's like to talk to another person when you're not thinking about
Yeah.
money.
Wouldn't that be
It's
nice?
just in the back of the head or something.
I 1000% agree.
And I hope
hope one
everyone,
day to
you guys
reach that
listening,
point.
I hope someone listening here is that guy.
And it doesn't have to be by me being successful. It can be the government giving me said cash. I don't care how it happens.
Well,
You know
Joe's
what I
concerned
mean?
about that because that's just going to make people.
Well, that sounds like rich man talk to me.
Yeah.
you know what's funny though is that's why I give the government $5 a month is for that 2 minutes alone where I'm like $70 million. What would I do? Oh, the things I'd do. Like, that's why I buy a lottery ticket once a
yeah.
month. You know what I mean? I
Hit
just
that like button if you play the lotto.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know your odds are like.
yeah, I know there's zero, but I'm like, here,
You see a story the next week of
yeah.
the store picked up the ticket for me, and we both won $78,000 on a scratchy. They got into how crazy it is after, like, just examples of the ivermectin COVID smear and the Trump Russia scandal. Like, those were stories, like the news, the trusted source that I don't obviously said those things for a long time, and then now guys are coming out like Chris Cuomo is saying, "Yeah, I'm on ivermectin," but there has been no atonement. I don't think there ever will be, or even we understand what that looks like. But it's sort of like, I'm sure I had lost faith in the media way before this.
This is just like the biggest, glaringest example of it.
Yeah.
But I think what bothers me is like hanging out with people and we just like, yeah, whatever, that happened. Because I think,
Well, again, it's either that or we have to like rush the parliament buildings, right? Like what's
well,
the
we
other
saw what happened
what's
when we
the
did
other
that.
choice?
We saw what happened when we
Well,
tried
you
to
just
do
didn't
that.
have enough backup. Now enough people are like, listen.
I wonder,
I was
eh?
no, listen. I was gonna say, when that was happening, they were paying us. We were all getting money, so it
Just
was
shut the fuck up.
It was easy for us to say, guys, like, shush. They're paying our bills because we can't work right now. You know what I mean? Everybody was scared. Now, when it's costing you $12 for a loaf of bread, like, people are going to be more apt to join a cause
I'm
like that.
surprised, and I thought I might have, but said, where is all this money coming from? And this doesn't work. This is going to have to be paid. There's going to be a consequence to all society for this, the longer and longer we close down for. And we're seeing it now. Anywho.
You know what's funny? I love that he acts. He's so funny. He sits here and acts like he wasn't regurgitating points that he heard someone else say. Like, he acts like he was on the cutting edge doing all the fucking
Hey,
deep.
Like Kamar's
I'm
at home
digging
doing
deep.
deep
Yeah,
thinking
that's what I'm saying,
and coming up with like these.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Matt, that's what me and Simon do. Okay. But yeah, and then he came in and really broke down Israel Hamas because it's so crazy that it has been our whole lifetime.
Before our lifetime, way
No,
before.
but so the people protesting for Palestine or whatever,
Yeah.
they're in their 20s. This is their first, like it was all going on when they were 10 years old, but they
Yeah.
didn't know about it. There was another cause du jour or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like the ultimate failure of humankind. And I bring it back to Antarctica. How is that just consensus there? But these other issues, and Dave did point out that Germany's, I always bring up Rwanda. There are situations where there's impassable hatred and stuff.
In all fairness, Kamar, you know who's not involved in the Antarctica Accord? Palestine.
Yes,
So
that is true.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. I'm sure Israel is. But like, I don't think Palestine has like the wherewithal to even get to.
Netanyahu has a gun to the Palestinian leader's head. He's like, just say yes to Antarctica.
I think it may have been made before Israel was Israel.
Maybe.
So I don't know how they'd get in on it. But it's just like
Israel becomes a state. They're like, hey, do we get to say on this Antarctica thing? They're like, no new states get to say. No.
I felt he did a good job.
We'll tell you about the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
You can know about space, but shut the fuck up about Antarctica.
Can we send someone? No.
He did a good job of describing Netanyahu as a bit of a Dick Cheney guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real problem.
So that's part of the problem. The other problem is because the international court, I think they talked about it, just sort of said that Israel's guilty of something. But it's sort of that thing when someone says we condemn. Like there's no international police force that then goes, okay, you got to stop. We're taking your guns away. Like it's all theater anyways. So
it's so later they can say, well, we told them not to.
Did
you stop them? No, but we told them not to.
I hope, because the same thing could happen. They could just go into Qatar and
but it's weird
tell the
because
guys from Hamas, you guys got to stop this.
But it's weird because when this happened in Bosnia, they sent in, like the UN sent in troops.
Eventually. Yeah. If you look into it, though, but
I know it took a while, but my point is, you're right. It took war crimes for them to finally.
It takes a while because it appears they were like, let them sort it out. For the first time ever, no intervention. We'll see, but I don't know. I just the Israel-Palestine conflict is it's like a cancer for the world, because we all have to deal with it in our different ways.
I mean, the biggest problem is that right now Israel keeps being like, we're not going to do this. Calm down. And then they do it, and then they're like, okay, listen. We're not doing what you think we're doing here. Now we're like, well, wait a minute.
It's apparent that their only plan was to destroy Hamas, whatever that meant. There was no and then we're going to rebuild, and there'll be houses here and the casinos, and it seems like the current powers don't have a peaceful resolution. They want them, everyone gone, that to become Israel right now, the Likud party or whatever. So they've got to go, and Hamas has got to go. But I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime.
No.
Even though there's been examples where hatred, atrocities has happened, and they've worked it out.
Hamas has got to go, and then the UN needs to, or whoever, the Americans, whoever Big Dad is, need to work with the Israelis to make sure that they do something right with Palestine. You know what I mean? But that cannot happen while Hamas controls Palestine. It's an impossibility.
But how can you argue that Hamas controls Palestine? Right? There is no Palestine right now. It's a weird. That's all I'm saying is
there is something.
Somebody
running.
is fighting back against the Israelis, whoever that is.
I mean, we don't know that for sure right now. It seems like.
Well, I mean, you know that as much as you know what the Israelis are doing. We don't know anything.
You're right.
We are totally clueless here because
all I'm saying is an international court did come out and say we do classify this as a genocide, and that they said that them going into the Rafah region was, I don't know what they fucking ruled on that, but yeah.
I just want to point out, and I don't know what this means, but we see the smear that goes on against the Russians. You know what I mean? You don't know. We just don't know. So much of what we know is for the interest of America, and they're not good either. You know, the people are good. They're great. We love the people.
But we're listening to Dave Smith, who's
part of the problem. Is his podcast. Just give
but my point is I get what you're saying. I'm not quoting CNN right now. Like everything Dave Smith is talking about is like independent journalists and people who are like boots on the ground type. That's all I'm saying is
fair enough.
It's like Abby Martin. Like when Abby Martin used to come on, we didn't think that she was a CNN shill. We were like, she's been there and has talked to people. And same thing, Dave being a Jew himself.
No, that's the part where I'm more apt to listen to him. You know what I mean?
Because he's part of the tribe.
It's a little harder to hear a Christian.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know,
he's one of the tribe.
Pedo culture try and tell me what's what. You know, you can do your fucking research.
Because if anything, America knows how to lose wars.
Knows how to lose them?
Lose them. And he was saying they've said you guys can't do what you think you're going to do. We've tried it, and for every time you kill someone, you get 20 more.
Right.
And this is just insurgent math.
But I mean,
there's no way to do this.
Israel must know that they've been fighting countries since the day they were created,
but this
making enemy, right? Like every time somebody throws a rock at you and you throw a missile at them, you're creating enemies, right?
But Simon, this is my thing, and this is not a Jewish people thing. This is the state of Israel. Like based on what Dave's saying, like,
or it's Netanyahu and his
that's
party.
What I'm saying. It's Netanyahu is sitting there saying,
Israel or Jewish.
Yeah, fine. Forget Israel. It's Netanyahu and his party are actively saying right now, like, we want to create as many anti-Israel terrorists as we can, so we can prop up our military and prop up the fact that we need to protect Israel at all costs.
We need to be empowered.
Yeah, and if we can and again, like
it's an old story, oldest time.
I don't think Netanyahu would ever stop. If he could, he would make the state of Israel all of the Middle East. I truly believe that, and I think he would do it under the guise of we have to kill our enemies.
Democracy.
The Jews have been attacked relentlessly forever, and again, like Dave's saying, it's weird to think that again, I don't want to say the Jewish people, but the state of Israel could be potentially in the middle of a genocide when the whole reason that the state of Israel exists is because of a genocide on your people. It's the ultimate, I don't want to say irony because it's gross thinking about this many innocent people dying, but it's crazy. It's insane. And again, I'm not talking about the Jewish people. I have no problem with Jews at all. Netanyahu seems to be a fucking problem though. And again, like
he's been a problem.
No, I just said it about Americans. I have no problem with Americans, but a guy like Dick Cheney, like you can obviously see now, he didn't have the best.
He didn't have the best
interest of America at heart.
His best interest,
or maybe what he thought was the best interest. That's possible too, right? Like you don't have to be evil. Maybe Netanyahu is a guy who truly believes that, like. They assassinated
a prime minister because he was going to make peace. So that's their conviction.
Yeah, need I point you towards JFK? Like the exact same thing happened here. Okay. These two countries are mirroring each other.
That would have been Mossad killing the prime minister to keep the thing going.
Well,
which you don't know. It's not what happened.
Well, that's another thing they talked about.
Mossad might have killed JFK too. Like we don't
know anything.
And the Americans might have killed fucking Itzhak Rabin or whoever the fuck.
We always talk about the CIA.
Yeah.
Running CNN or whatever, but who knows what percentage of it is Mossad? Like they brought up Jeffrey Epstein.
No, I don't like what he's doing here. You're trying to like insinuate that the Jews are running America?
No.
Yes.
No,
yes.
Intelligence agencies are.
I would like to insinuate that right now on the record. And Simon, who cares? Someone has to run the country, right? You would have no trouble saying white people run America, right? Like that wouldn't even be a wild statement, would it?
I mean, you said it, so I don't
know, but right? Like if that wouldn't be like, oh my God, white people run America, you'd be like, yeah, fine, that makes sense. So why can't Jews run America?
You're saying Jews run America so you can blame something else on the Jews.
No.
You're not saying they run America and America is doing righteous things so the Jews are righteous. That's not the...
No, I'm not saying Jews, I'm saying Mossad, which happens to be for Israel. But you must admit they must be doing some shady shit like the CIA, the KGB.
100%. Listen, I'll admit 1,000 times out of 1,000 that Netanyahu... He's like, you can see what he's up to. He's not a good guy. I know they've been trying to get him out for years. I think it's a little more complicated than it is here with just like straight elections,
Yeah, sure.
We forgive you.
Well, you don't need to forgive me. I forgive you for being anti-Semitic.
They were talking.
Well, thank you for agreeing that Jews run the states too. That's
I didn't.
No. I mean, but you didn't say they don't. You didn't say you don't.
W.
I think that's silly to think that. I think it's much more likely, like I said, that your pedo culture is completely in charge. It makes way more sense that the Vatican runs America than the Jews run America. And if you want to take receipts on
Actually-
that, I'm happy to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, really?
Yes, really.
Oh, I'll come next week.
How
with
many
so many
synagogues are
receipts.
there in America versus how many churches are there in America?
Simon,
Mic drop.
Simon,
Let me walk out the
Simon.
door right now.
You have to know better than that. That's what you're using. There's more churches than synagogues. Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, what do you? Who owns the most capital?
It has nothing to do with capital. Who actually makes the decisions? Who has the most people in
Capital.
power? Your people.
No.
Yeah.
Not in government. No way. No
100
way.
All the unelected spots that matter are
Dude,
all
there
your
are
people.
way more of your pedo culture people than there are Jews.
No, sir.
I guarantee you.
No, sir.
I guarantee you.
No, sir.
You're
You are
being crazy.
incorrect.
I don't even
I'm
think there are
being
enough
crazy.
Jews in the world to make sense of what you're saying.
See, and that's a good smokescreen, isn't it? There aren't enough of us to possibly run shit.
hilarious,
What a great little
hilarious,
smokescreen.
yeah,
The best
yeah.
trick the devil ever pulled.
Yeah. You know what?
No,
the
Simon, I'm being
greatest trick
genuine.
the
I'm
devil
being
ever
genuine.
pulled was?
I'm being genuine. If you want to look into it, I swear on my fucking life, the unelected seats in the government in the U.S. that matter the most are a lot of them are run by AIPAC supporting members of your tribe.
You'll have to show me that data.
I will pull up that data for you.
I would like to know where you're just pulling this out of your.
I'm on the
anus,
internet too, buddy.
but- Yeah, I know, but you don't even use DuckDuckGo. Like, I have a hard time trusting most of. You're using Google for fuck's sake.
use DuckDuckGo.
Sorry, go ahead, Kamar.
They talked about the heroin in Afghanistan, and that was a weird thing.
You gonna blame that on the Jews too?
They went in there and they defended the heroin. Do you think those producers are like, lamenting fentanyl? Like, you work hard your whole life to sell some good opium, and now these guys just come in here and take the whole thing. I don't know if it's been affected by fentanyl, but it just doesn't seem like heroin's anywhere.
I believe that it ruined the country.
Heroin?
Fentanyl ruined Afghanistan.
Fentanyl, because of fentanyl,
Well, the U.S.
Afghanistan lost money?
Yeah, their main export.
Interesting. So I am
Like
right.
you said, there's no heroin anymore. How many fucking heroin junkies do you see anymore? Never.
Well, they're all synthetic heroin.
That's what I'm saying. They're all fucking fentanyl addicts now.
Well, no, not fentanyl. Just
No, it's usually like, dude, think about Andrew Callahan. Every time he goes out on the street and talks to junkies, every one of them is like fentanyl.
Yes,
You don't see anyone
yes,
anymore
yes,
who's
yes.
like a
well,
heroin.
it's that much cheaper, right? Like, why pay more when you can?
I'm
pay
with you.
less
Yeah,
for-
listen, dude, it's like if rent's this high, I'm buying fentanyl too. Fuck it.
So
I'm already playing dice with my life. Who gives a shit?
It's
Pour
like
out
I can
one
get
for those
12
poor
grams of
heroin
fentanyl
producers.
or one loaf of bread.
Yeah, well, we're going fentanyl all fucking day, baby.
they talked about Tim Dillon and Bill Burr doing that rant thing, and you can't.
Bill Burr's way better.
They're both great.
I'm just saying, I think Bill does it truly alone. Bill is capable of sitting in front of his computer.
I think
and
Tim could do it alone now.
Yeah, but I think having the producer there, having someone laugh is a huge advantage.
So Bill's a little more impressive, but I just am. So many people I find out they like Tim Dillon, and you just can't put your. I like him too, but you just can't even put your like. It's not like he tells jokes.
No, he's just a good ranting.
The person, yeah. Did you guys see the Pelosi, Mumford and Son debate?
No, God, no.
Because that's a new thing. The threat of democracy, that wasn't a big thing when I was growing up.
What are you talking about? It's been a big thing for 60 years. That's why. That's why why do you think they've been fighting communism?
But 20 years ago, it wasn't like it was democracy around the world. But here, democracy is good. It was
Yeah.
only the last couple of years now. Our democracies are under attack by whatever it is. I just see it as another save the children.
Well, that's just because they want to implement more fucking restrictions on us.
Or less, like they want to make it so you can vote by mail.
I mean, I don't.
Could you explain populism? If
No.
someone asks you.
No, fuck no.
Exactly.
But I'm dumb.
What is populism?
I can't do it either. Populism is the threat to democracy. This is the whole. That's what they debated.
Speaking about being dumb, I've tried to rewatch many of what's his name's clips from last week.
Who?
Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
I am stupid, man. I cannot. Either he is insane, or I
Post-Joe.
cannot
Yeah.
understand a
Post-Joe.
word
Post-Joe.
of what he's talking about.
Dude, I saw the craziest thing this week. So they did a poll in Britain an anonymous poll where they asked, do you think that immigration has worked in Britain? And 95% of people polled said no.
Well, no shit. Even the immigrants said no.
Some Indian guy's like, this absolutely is not working.
All these white people are not working for me.
This is terrible.
This is great. Populism as an ideology that presents the people as a morally good force and contrasts them against the elite who are portrayed as corrupt and self-serving.
Well, that sounds about right.
I would say I have a. I think
I'm a
I'm
populist.
populist.
I'm a populist.
Hold on, what's going
and
on
they're
here?
telling
You 2 minutes
that-
ago, you were like, I don't even know what it means.
Well, I just read it out, but populists
Yeah.
are threats to democracy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because we would like some control back.
So,
Well,
mean,
to a
it's-
corrupt democracy, I don't know if it was a proper democracy, they would probably relish that kind of checks and balances.
It's ironic because Harvard, a U.S.-based higher learning institution, I think it was like just pre-COVID, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they released a report where they said that the U.S. is closer to, wasn't an oligarchy, one of those garchies.
They never use the word oligarch. Oligarch is only used to describe Europeans, but they are oligarchs all the same.
Yeah, it might have been all. I can't remember, but they said it's closer to that than democracy with the way it currently works.
Well, the fact that a millionaire used to be impressive,
Yeah, now it's nothing.
and a billionaire was like, no one knows a billionaire, and now there's lists of billionaires. Athletes, the Kardashians are billionaires.
Here's the thing, though. This is important. I go back to it. I don't have a problem with someone being a billionaire.
Nope.
I don't. I don't think there's like if you told me right now there's
But it
20.
seems like stuff is getting more expensive and worse.
If you told me right now, hey, there's 2,200, which I believe is the number. There's 2,200 billionaires on Earth. I'd be like, okay, that's not the worst. But then when you find out that 50 of them have like 100 billion, 200 billion, we have a big fucking problem.
And they're doing well.
That money never gets spent. That money never gets recycled back into the system. That money never sees the light of day. It just grows their wealth, and it just grows their wealth for their shitty fucking grandkids. And like, it's not, that money needs to find its way back into the system. And it's not. It's never going to. Anyway, Simon's rubbing his middle finger.
No,
at me.
I'm not. I totally agree. I think we should all revolt.
Our politicians
I
and
would-
our media have no idea
I'm
what they're
thinking
talking
of buying
about.
a truck,
Covering it in steel. My
just
bulldozer.
joining a convoy,
Cybertruck.
a Cybertruck. Yeah.
So NATO caused the war in Ukraine. That's just crazy. It's crazy. And that's another lie sort of thing. History will look back at it.
I think it's a weird thing saying NATO caused it.
When he said the one example, the guy said we had
The
a deal.
Americans caused.
No, the
it.
head of NATO
Yeah, who
said they made us a deal and we refused it.
No, I get it. What I'm saying though is like, when you say like NATO caused the war, you would
America's the most influential in NATO.
I'm not even going to say I'm not trying to point at a country. What I'm saying though is the idea that NATO, like you would think like a NATO country attacked someone and that created the war, not that like the idea of NATO expanding.
No.
started a
Hold
war.
on a second. The two biggest superpowers, the Americans and the Russians, had a deal. Whether it was like a written out contract, they had a deal. It was if NATO, a group we are not a
expands
part of, pushes
onto our borders. Yeah.
onto our borders, not expands, become as big as you want, going in any other direction. But if you come this way, you are going to leave us with no choice but to do this, this, and this. That happens, and then you're surprised that that person does that, and that. Like,
I'm just saying though that it's tough to point the direct finger and say NATO did this. Like Canada's a NATO country, right?
Yeah, we're responsible.
I thought that fucking what's his name did a pretty. Listen, we know that America is the pseudo leader of NATO. They have the most votes. They have
They have all the
sway.
firepower.
And we've been through this already. Why they don't want Russia in NATO?
Because
Because
they
then
don't
they're
have to
not the
exist.
big dog
It's
anymore.
getting rid of homelessness.
Like it's so obvious. It's It's so corrupt.
I mean, they want Russia in NATO at the end of the day.
No, they don't.
No, I'm telling you, what I'm saying is like, if world peace is really what we're after, you want Russia in, because then China can't do fucking jack shit.
Matt,
Matt, you have to have Russia in, and Russia wanted to be in. They asked to be in.
Yeah, I know.
They're not this like. They're not the we've. They have been made into the big bad wolf. They're not that. They're not out to get.
Especially
America.
not Russians.
I bet if you asked the average Russian, would you like Coca-Cola back in the country? They'd probably be like, fuck, I would love a fucking cold glass of Coke right now. Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Just by the by, those factories that were making Coca-Cola in Russia,
Yeah.
they didn't change when Coke left.
Yeah, they just kept the same recipe and slapped a new
Everything
fucking
is
logo on it.
identical.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't notice the difference. Like that's the joke of all.
I
of
bet
this.
even Coke was like, we still own this factory. We're still making.
probably like you know who owns McDonald's?
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's who's in Russia. now.
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
I had my Matrix moment when I remember I was telling you guys about the politicians just going crazy in the post, Joe, exclusively with the Patreon. You don't remember that? Eyelashes, big.
Yeah.
bitch bomb.
Yeah. They talked about it in this episode, actually.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Simon.
Thank you.
When AOC is going, baby girl.
Yeah.
It's so beyond like, it's like, I don't know if you guys know this, but Jennifer Lopez cannot act.
I
She
do
is
know
the
this.
same Puerto Rican person, whatever. But it's great. She's beautiful. I love her.
Would it surprise you if I told you that she used to be a fly girl?
No, I knew that.
No, not Jennifer Lopez.
AOC. She did.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. I thought
Yeah.
she was a bartender. Anyways.
She wasn't a flagger.
Anyways, she there was a huge Trump in her ride, a big rally, a Trump rally in her riding. I'd like to see what happens to her if she gets voted out. I doubt that will happen.
I don't. What are you even talking? There's a big Trump in her riding.
Trump rally
There's
in
a Trump
her
rally
riding.
in her ride. It's always been. I can't say.
You can't say it.
Move
I
on,
got
move
it
on,
out. It's
moving on.
fine.
That was my major. Baby girl, don't even play. Corruption is out of control.
You just read the note.
That was quick.
Corruption.
Well, no, when he was talking about the Clintons,
Yeah.
all these people who have jobs, and you said, well, based on what you got paid, you made a couple good moves in the stock market. You should have this amount of money. You should not have that much money.
Yeah, we all agree.
And when you find out that the CIA killed JFK, you're just like, dude, you are the most undemocratic country in the world. This is what happens in places
Our
where
life is
you
a
go
lie.
in to overthrow the government because they have this kind of shit going on.
Well, Simon, even when
Killing presidents because you don't like their politics.
we also talk about free market capitalism, like if the government is going to bail out any company, it is no longer free market capitalism. You let the company burn to the ground because they can't run the fucking company properly. I don't know if you know about government cheese. Do you know about this?
No.
So the dairy industry was going to go under.
Oh, yeah, right. I do know about
And
this,
so
yeah.
the government came in and said, we can't let the dairy industry go under. So we're going to buy up a ton of fucking cheese and keep it in a cave. And then they started pushing cheese on every American company that could possibly, Domino's, Papa John's. And they started being like, offer stuffed crust pizza, offer fucking cheesy bread, offer extra cheese on everything. And that's why we have stuffed crust fucking pizza, because the government had to bail out the dairy industry.
I want to know more about that.
They were
cave.
like, where are we going to put all this cheese? Well, you know where the most effective place to store all the cheese is in the bellies of your citizens.
No,
No,
literally.
for real. It's like, where can we get free real estate to store this cheese? Oh, well, we'll just sell it back to them. They'll pay us and they'll store the cheese in them.
But isn't that weird? Think about it. Like an industry that we, the people, didn't want to support. We were like, we don't want, I mean, I guess we do want cheese.
I
but
love
you know what?
cheese.
Yeah, sure. But maybe you only want it because the government pushed it on you. Like maybe, like if you think about how many people are lactose intolerant.
Do you give a fuck about Loblaws?
No,
But like you said, Loblaws they would never let them fail in this country.
no.
You know
There's
what
too
I
many
mean?
people invested. Too much money.
I mean, you don't fucking care.
Nope.
And I don't care. I'll buy my groceries somewhere else. I already do. Some other stupid place that's price gouging me.
Well, that's the craziest thing to think of is like, think about the banks failing. It's like, well, we can't let the banks fail or the economy fails. Like, dude, someone's going to slide in and create another bank overnight. And they'll hopefully learn from the mistakes of the last bank. Or we could have just left all the banking shit in place from the 20s.
Like the only thing that the government should do for those banks is make sure that everyone is made whole.
No, there's insurance companies for that.
But well, even better.
Yeah, government doesn't need any.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't need to bail the bank out to then start again. They just have to make sure that nobody got ripped off by the bank. That's the...
Even then, if you were going to bail them out, you immediately then fucking not sanction, you, what's the word I'm looking for?
Get rid of all their higher ups because you don't need them anymore.
No, you would just immediately put in place all the fail safes to not let it happen again.
Oh, yeah.
You would just regulate
Right.
the shit out of them. Say, listen, if we're going to bail you out, there's no more free fucking
You're
money.
now under our thumb.
100%.
We're going to decide
Yeah.
the allocation, which is not at all what they did. And we know this because the very first thing they did was pay off bonuses to their fucking executives. I'm getting all agitated.
The FBI put top secret on files and took pictures of it, much like a moon landing sort of idea.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all, though. Like if you're trying to make like a point, they didn't even need to do that. They could have done that in post. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're assuming that they're that far ahead. They just did that for the picture that got taken.
So that's all right.
Well, no, but I mean, how often, like we know the media is uber corrupt. How often?
And the FBI is uber corrupt.
And the FBI is uber corrupt. So why would we be surprised that they would do something like that and that the media companies would show something like that?
And it's just like an idea that people hate Trump so much that they can see that doesn't matter.
There was
Get rid of
Trump
that guy.
derangement syndrome. We are all in agreement of that. And what's crazy, Kamar, is it still exists to today. Like some people, even though, like you were saying, ivermectin, it's out, that it's a viable, like if you went to the doctor right now with COVID, that's probably what they would prescribe to you. But Trump liked it. So some people still believe that it's a horse dewormer. You know what I mean?
Well, hold on, it is a horse dewormer.
No. But
I'm
it's
just trying to
not, it wasn't good. It's not good. It's a bad thing.
I understand, but like with Joe Rogan, I was
It's not a
explaining the
horse
reason
dewormer.
CNN ran with that story is because it is used as a horse dewormer. So they weren't lying.
That's not why they ran with the story.
No,
That's
no,
how
that-
they could justify.
Should Joe have sued
No, you
CNN?
can't. He can't.
Why not?
No, because what he's
Because they
saying is
didn't
it's
lie.
true.
I'm sure they
It
lied.
is a horse
I'm
medication.
sure all the things they said, someone lied.
Joe has no case to sue them.
This is
He
he would have.
He said he could have sued them.
Yeah, listen, you can sue anyone you want. Whether you win or have a case is a totally different thing.
He should have sued him. He should have won, and he should have donated that money. Just like the guy.
I don't think he would have won.
Remember the guy on the steps?
Yeah.
Just because they filmed him a certain way and made it look like he was being harassed by the other way, he got like $250 million. There's no way they didn't do something just as egregious. The filter on his face.
In order for Joe to win any money in that lawsuit, he would have to prove that them doing that made him lose money.
Of course.
It made him money. He got more popular after they did that.
Well, first of
I'm
all,
sure- I'm sure that's why he went for it.
the only thing you can sue for is what is it? Libel? Which one's the one?
Libel or slander. It
Defamation.
doesn't
Sure,
matter.
one of the other ones.
But he just told you. We just went through this. They have a loophole here because what they said is not true.
Yeah, he did take a horse dewormer. It's also the most popular.
I don't think it's a dewormer. I think it's
No, it is-
horse medicine.
No. It is used for deworming horses. It also is used because it's a dewormer. That's the whole thing. They used it so that people could people that drank like water out of fucking rivers and stuff, because it was like a river sickness that I
Okay.
think gave you. So it's
okay.
it works as a dewormer. The point being, that's what I'm saying, Kamar, is they did this tricky sleight of hand. They knew what they were doing. I'm not denying that.
They were trying to disparage him, but they did it in such a way that
That they couldn't be sued. They knew it.
I disagree, and
Fair enough.
I think there's enough out there that he said I should have, I could have, I didn't. I know
Well,
I know why I didn't, because
just because Joe says that doesn't make it fact.
no, it does not.
And Kamar, you're forgetting too that it's not a. That's not a jury of your peers. A judge decides that purely based on law, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think if it's a jury of the peers, Joe might win it.
Yeah, but it's you're talking. First of all, it's the government, and those trials are different than any trials you will ever go to.
But it'd be an important moment where CNN gets called out. It's just like Fox got screwed for the
weapons of mass
no,
destruction.
the Dominion voting machines or whatever. With the thing they got Tucker
Yeah,
Carlson
the
fired.
Diebold voting
They said
machine.
they
But I mean,
cheated, and there was no proof there.
CNN did get called out. The biggest platform in the world, they got called out. They're still being called out a year and a half later. Joe is still on them. So like I think the damage is done. Like I get what you're saying. You want some sort of punitive damages. You want them to be
consequence for the media lying. That's
Yeah.
what I want.
Yeah.
But we started off talking about that. There is none. They'll lie to you. They'll go, yeah, I guess they lied, but whatever. Life goes on. There's never a watershed moment or a come to Jesus moment where the media's like, fuck.
The answer to that is we all stop watching that network, right? Like that's your power.
Well, they're on their way out. We know that. Okay, I just want to wrap this up. They got into dogs. I wish they could give us dog energy. But that's probably why a dog only lives 12, 14 years or whatever.
dog energy, dude. Listen, I know that if you don't own a dog, you see spurts of like happy energy and like.
Oh, no, they sleep or they run.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But when they run, they just. I've been around dogs. It's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it's all animals. Just have it's sleep or flight.
I mean, my dog is not retarded, but what's Rain Man?
Autistic.
Yeah, but it's like when you're really good at something else, like you're. Because some autism people are just like, did you ever watch Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Not all those people can count toothpicks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, which don't let me forget.
Post Joe.
No. Shush.
Okay, anyway, back to what you were saying.
What was I saying?
Dogs.
You do this all the time. Anytime you go to write something
Your
down,
dog's
you forget
retarded.
your
Your dog's
initial
retarded.
point.
You have a retarded dog.
Oh,
That's what he
yeah.
said.
My dog is an autistic savant. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Does he paint with his tail?
No, he's like so good at fetching, but in normal existence, he's so useless.
Set
you
the
know what
bar
I mean?
low. Eh?
Well, it's just that's what his superpower is. He
Idiot
he is the
savant.
best fetcher I've ever seen. But all of his energy, like that's all he thinks about. It's just fetching all the time.
You should get one of those automatic ball shooters.
Any praise I give him, anytime I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" He immediately goes to get the thing to throw. Like he's so good at it, but he's so retarded.
It'd be amazing if we get to the point where we can understand animals.
So just while we're on this whole autistic savant thing, did you see the guy on the internet who can, you give him either a year and he'll tell you every movie that came out during that year, or you give him a movie and he'll tell you the year it came out. He's like a movie game.
My roommate can do that.
Autistic.
My roommate can do
savant.
that.
Really?
I swear to God. But
Dude,
you
this guy, real quick, this guy came into trivia and he's like, I have this pile of trivia for you. And it's like these tattered sheets. It looks like he's been carrying them around
Mark
forever.
Norman.
Yeah. And he's like, he's really drunk. And then he goes, I don't know if you know this, but like, I'm a fucking sports trivia savant. Like I know everything.
Swami? Was that?
Yeah. He's like, I know everything about sports. And so I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's like, no, you don't understand. I know everything about sports. And I was like, okay. So then I go, who won the Stanley Cup in 1987? And there's a long pause, and he goes, I don't know. How should I know that? And dude, I was like,
1997?
no, 87. But I was like,
Montreal Canadiens.
I was like, I don't know, dude. You brought this up. Like,
88 was the Flames.
oh, Simon. Well, then 87 probably would have been the Flames, too. Didn't they win 3 in a row then?
I don't know.
Either way, I give Dave a 3.5. We got to
That
move
guy
on.
sounds like a real asshole.
No, he's just going through it right now. He's a nice guy. Kamar, what do you rate
Then
Dave?
I
I give it a
take it
3.5.
Edmonton Oilers. We're all wrong. But it was in Alberta. Do you see what he did there, though? He brought up the word idiot savant and then said something and said, well, since we're on idiot savant.
Yeah, he brings his
He
own
just fell into
segues.
the
He prepares. Yeah, he
conversation.
prepares his own
Yeah,
segues.
I give
I
it-
am a true professional.
Yeah.
You could take a fucking note out of my
Yeah.
textbook.
Speaking of idiot savants, Bigfoot.
I give this. I give Dave a 3 as well
That's interesting.
I said 3.5, but that's fine.
because he's an idiot savant or just a savant as far as being a comedian. No education in this field.
Yeah, there's no idiot involved in Dave Smith.
He's
He
a
reads,
savant.
he reads a lot. Simon, what do you rate it?
I'll give it a 3.25.
Oh, right in the middle. There you go. It's-
3.5. Did
Hey.
you guys rate it?
no,
a
he gave it a
3.5?
3. I gave it a 3.5. That's why I said you were right in the middle. All right, Kamar, Remy Warren. Real quick. We're not
Holy
giving this guy
fuck,
any
yeah.
time. This
Like,
episode fucking
5 minutes. 5
stank.
minutes. We're just
2154 Remy Warren.
we're only talking about the dinosaurs.
Do you guys know how to figure out what your dominant eye is?
No, but hold on real quick. Wait.
Don't do this. Pick the notes that matter.
Simon,
It really matters because you want to know this.
Joe, and I quote from this episode. I quote, "It gives me hope for Bigfoot."
When did he say that?
You didn't catch that?
No.
You caught that, Kamar?
No.
Do you have that in your notes? You sure have a lot about dominant eye.
Well, if you ever have to shoot something, you want to know which is your dominant eye. I'll
I
demonstrate.
would
at
use
the
my
break.
left to do my scoping. But I'm also goofy footed, so maybe that makes sense.
No, I would use my right for sure.
So there, and your regular foot.
But no, because when we used to shoot at the cottage, you
No,
shot.
I would shoot like this. Oh no, you're
No.
right. I'm shooting like this. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like your chin on the other side of the butt. Yeah. Like a fucking total weirdo.
Oh, it's definitely my right eye.
It's
I don't
making
know what
love
I'm
to the
talking
gun
about.
butt. I also lick the barrel as I shoot.
I tickle the cartridge from underneath
I was just thinking
as
about
I stroke the shaft and look with my left eye.
you straddling the whole fucking rifle.
It's just gay target
No,
practice.
so, I can't remember what they were talking about, but Joe said it gives me hope for Bigfoot.
Why did he say that though?
they were
Woolly
talking
mammoths, maybe?
No, they were
They were
talking.
talking about the woolly mammoths.
Well, they were talking about hunting and like being out in the snow and being unseen or something like that. And Joe was like, "Gives me hope for Bigfoot." And then
Oh,
laughed.
how big the Arctic is, or wherever he was.
Yeah, and he was like, you can look for muskox for
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
6 months or whatever, and not find one.
Well, that's a good. I mean, just big cats are a good example. They live. You can probably go out just past where I am in Dunrobin, which is only like half hour.
Yeah.
And we're probably close to big cats.
a mountain lion.
It's something like that. A mountain lion, a lynx, or whatever. You will never see one of them. You will go your entire existence and never see one of them.
Dude, I saw a video the other day of these park rangers trying to, I think they're trying to do something to this mountain lion, and they have it cornered in this like crevasse. And dude, first of all, the sound this thing is making, I was like the balls on this fucking guy. He's like 5 feet from it. You can't see it at first because it's so deep in this crevasse, and then it leaps out towards the
I saw
cameraman.
it. It's insane.
And then leaps to the other corner where it's trapped and realizes it's trapped. Dude, I was like, you guys are fucking mental.
yeah.
Like,
insane.
it could just decide, like, on its way out, just, I'm taking this guy's jugular with
Yeah.
me. Like, just, dude,
That thing was nuts.
it was huge.
They didn't trank it enough or something. That was the whole thing.
I can't remember. I didn't read the story because I was just like, I was on the edge of my seat, just
But
like,
you've seen the footage of that leopard or whatever mountain lion hitting the goat, and they both go off the cliff.
yeah.
Like they don't give a fuck, man.
No.
They got a one-track mind. That mind is prey.
Yeah, food.
Like that thing was, you'd think it would have enough common sense not to fucking tackle a goat off a cliff.
It's crazy watching the eagles grab stuff off the cliff and just drop it. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I
They just
have.
like pick a
Yeah.
goat up off
Yep.
the side, drop it, and they're like, I'll go back for it.
Did you see the bull beat the shit out of the lady on the beach?
No.
There's a bull on the beach.
There's a bull on the beach.
Yeah, why is there a bull on the beach?
Hey, man, it's the internet.
Wolves to whales, buddy.
He said it the first time, and I was just like, okay. I mean, maybe there are some beaches in Spain that just have bulls on them.
There could be, but this bull is on the beach, and she's sort of being nice to it. Like, they're there, and it just starts smash her.
Well, you've
Oh my
seen the,
God.
She's putting her hand up like, oh, and
I've
just
had
keeps
enough.
smashing her, and no one wants to do anything. 'Cause it's a
course
bull
not,
with
yeah.
horns.
This bull isn't listening to reason. I told him I had enough, and he just kept goring me.
It fucked her up. Man.
Yes, of course it did.
But a bunch of people around. Like, had it been a person beating another person, you think these people would have ran, but everyone's like,
Well, what are you gonna go pull the bull off her?
what are you going to do? I guess you run with a towel and try to.
What are you gonna near rape
matador
that
her
I'm
out
gonna
of
be
there.
like, yoinks. Where's the nearest Popeyes?
Anyways,
I'm
look
good
that
at
up.
jujitsu. I'm
Yeah,
done
yeah.
with this.
I'm gonna
we'll be
choke
right
this
back.
bull out.
We'll be right
It doesn't have a neck, but I'm gonna choke him out.
You've got him in a leg lock. He's just fucking bucking you around.
Imagine Joe Rogan was there and he tackled bull.
Oh, he just leg kick it. One swift leg kick and that bull's
Dude,
down.
that would, have you guys heard Brendan Schaub talking? Somebody asks them whether he thinks who would win in a fight, him or Joe Rogan. And he says, look, Joe Rogan is my this is verbatim. He's like, Joe Rogan is my everything. Joe Rogan is my hero. Joe Rogan is my North Star.
But I'd kick the shit out
But
of
I
him.
would kick the shit out of him. And then he like demeans Joe for like 5 minutes about how his kicks ain't shit.
I mean, you have to
Amazing
agree.
if they fell on hard times and ended up on the celebrity fighting circuit.
I mean,
If that's happening
half of that could happen. The other half is an impossibility.
There's a simulation where that's happening.
He would kill Joe. I think we all agree.
Not if Joe got him in close.
I think,
Are you kidding me?
first of all, Joe's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
I'm pretty sure Brendan
Brendan-
Schaub is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Not a black belt.
Okay.
Not a black belt.
I think that if Joe trained, he could beat Brendan.
Okay, well, there's a reason there's weight classes, first of all.
Well,
Actually, they're pretty close. Yeah, they are.
Now
actually.
they are. Like Joe's like 240.
No, he's 205. He's not 240
No,
pounds.
you're right.
He's
Okay.
5'6". Like,
That doesn't mean anything.
yes, it does. 5'6", dude. It's tough to be 240 without being a fucking big fat.
He's a
fuck.
tick boy.
He's thick for sure. Like Joe is built like a brick shithouse. Listen, Joe could kick the shit out of 10 of me's. Okay,
Joe is 10 of you.
Sure. I'm telling you though, you clone me 10 times.
Yeah.
You put me in a ring with one Joe Rogan. We're all dying. All the me's are dead. I'm with that. But Brendan Schaub, as much as you can talk about his comedy career, he knocked out Mirko Krokop. Like I realized he got choked out a bunch. I realized his career wasn't that.
You know, here's the thing. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest Brendan Schaub fan.
Okay.
But I'm going to say something to you now. I've watched a lot of UFC. I don't think he was such a great UFC fighter.
I didn't say he was a great UFC fighter. You
I
know who
think he
didn't
was-
fight in the UFC?
Got
Joe Rogan. You know who's also in a he wouldn't be in he'd be in one lower weight class, I guess.
I think we forget. Like look at Joe and archery. Like when he wants to get good at something, there is no stopping him.
Sure.
He wanted to get good again. He wanted to get good at jiu-jitsu. There was no stopping him. If he wanted to get good at whatever,
Kicking the shit out of Brendan Schaub.
he could do that, you know?
Listen, in a world, anything could happen. Joe might catch him with that perfect
I
leg
just
kick.
thought it was funny how he did it. Gave him like all these compliments and then
That's hilarious. Dude, I gotta say, Dr. Phil on Kill Tony, I'm sure you watched it, but there's one where the older woman comes up and Dr. Phil's like, all right, let's talk about you in bed. Like, why don't you tell me, what is a night in bed with you like? And she goes, well, first we'd have a nice dinner. And he goes, all right, I'm going to stop you there. I'm done.
back to you, Tony.
We'll be right back.
I nearly fucking shit my pants laughing. Listen, I got to stop you there. I'm done.
Yeah, no, he's really funny.
How ridiculous is it that the Iditarod race, if you have to kill an animal to save your life,
insane.
if
It's
you don't
insane.
dress it properly, you lose.
It's insane.
No, you don't lose. Time penalty.
That's just a nerd. That's come on, guys. But I guess that's a responsible stewardship of nature.
I feel like on the low, we're going to find out when that guy dies that he was like, I knew I was so good at the Iditarod that I went off track and just fucking killed a moose just so I could.
Like it didn't attack his
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah.
He was just.
He broke one of his dog's legs.
Why
just so
did
could kill a
he
moose.
end up winning?
He
the
won, yeah,
Iditarod?
despite
Even
the
with
2 hour.
penalty?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting podcast.
You know what happened? He probably didn't kill the moose. He probably captured the moose, had the moose
Drag
take him
him.
a long way, and then killed it so it couldn't talk.
I cheated the Iditarod with this moose and I
Yeah.
need to shut him the
That
fuck
would
up.
be a way to do it. man.
Greenland is not as big as it looks.
Yeah.
Remy Warren went to Greenland.
He
It is-
walked the outside
it
of
is
it and said
insane
it's smaller than it looks.
That people 500 years ago got in those wood boats and went places that were here. It really is crazy. Have you heard of the Drake Passage?
Yeah.
So that's between Argentina and Antarctica. That's the closest. Sort of weird. It's sort of like the Truman movie. But I was watching a tanker, like a big, and it was getting tossed around in these oceans. It's just crazy that these wood boats with sails got us to here.
I mean, you're also, I think you're discounting how many of them didn't make it.
Well, in the Drake Passage alone, I believe it's 20,000 sailors have died and 800 shipwrecks.
That's what I'm saying.
There's like 17 people who made it.
This is what I'm saying.
But like no fucks given to get on one of those boats and like, yeah, we'll see where we end up. It really,
I mean, again,
it's almost like I can't believe it happened.
well, maybe it didn't happen like that. Maybe
it didn't.
They knew where they were going. We're just assuming because we give no credit
No, but
to our
my whole point is,
ancestors.
unless there are, and obviously they would have found them calmer waters. There's routes that you as a sailor you'd know to go there, but still storms, a hurricane, like you you think you feel like you're sort of trapped in a plane. You know what I mean? But maybe you could get a life jacket, or no, sorry, a parachute, and jump out. But on a boat in the middle of the ocean, there's nowhere to go.
Dude, it's
You
crazy.
can get in a little.
I don't think there
rowboat.
are parachutes for you on those planes. Just by the
No,
way,
he's saying if. He was saying at least if
Probably
there
not.
was.
the front seat becomes a cushion in case you end up in the water. But if you end up in the water, you're dead.
I'm saying
Kamar, what's-
environments where you're very.
Let's talk about dinosaurs and wrap this up.
What's really crazy, just in closing, is like I saw this Coast Guard video where they're flying over the ocean. It's just open ocean. And they have like the zoomed out view. And all you see is water and ocean. That's all you can see. Like, and then they start zooming in slowly. And you're like, I still see nothing. And then they keep zooming in. And then eventually they zoom in on a life raft with someone on it. But you're just like you're like, dude, if you're out there, like the odds of you truly being seen are fucking pretty much zero.
Have you seen the footage of the kid on the giant unicorn that they find out in the middle of the
Florida?
ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just went away with the current
Yeah.
and got lucky that someone.
Yeah, dude.
He was out there for like 7 hours or
Yeah.
something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So dinosaurs
Let's
has
go.
had feathers, if they existed. It's just so weird that they are the fossil fuels, and everyone hates them, or that we use them, but we needed to use them to get to here. Just again, it's sort of great simulation design,
Dude,
intelligent
the whole
design.
fossil fuel thing to me, like, doesn't it sound like one of these things? Like, you have this thing, this energy, we don't kind of get how it works. What are we going to tell the populace? Well, just tell them that it was from the dinosaurs. They can't check.
Yes,
I
there's no
love that
way
you
of-
think no one's checked. Just one scientist is like, this is how it is. And ever since then, we're all just in agreement. I know we're
I think
too
that's
stupid.
the way it worked for a lot of things, actually. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely too stupid to figure out, but
Well, we only know what they tell us about dinosaurs. People only know what they know about dinosaurs because they find some bones.
they don't find bones.
That
There's no
if-
such thing as
they-
dinosaur bones.
Okay, you know what? I don't like people like you. They
I don't
find,
like people like me either.
They find dinosaur fossils. Is that
Yeah,
better?
that's better,
Okay,
yeah.
There you go. There you
And it has to be so long ago because a lot of this oil is in the middle of the ocean. There's a huge one in Russia. I saw a quick thing about it. Like it's so big.
go. A huge dinosaur?
No, it's 7-story. An oil refinery. You know, one of those ones that it's actually sitting on the so it's not that deep, but it's still offshore oil.
What are you talking about? Not that deep. They have to go to the bottom of the ocean for that. Where do you think the oil is?
Yeah. Well, no,
So it's very deep.
Well, not the bottom of the ocean.
It's
No, but the bottom of
sitting
the
on the
fucking
bottom
Bering
of the-
Strait or wherever it is.
Yeah, it's probably like I don't know.
1,000 feet deep.
Yeah, something like that. It's crazy. And they're going even deeper under that ocean to these deposits that were once dinosaurs. I guess they all were in a group and died in their tracks there. And then the plates shifted and they went under and were turned into oil. And then
This is the least interesting part about dinosaurs.
Okay, well, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Well, you don't even think they existed. So mine's the one that rode the subway the most, clearly.
it's between Lickalotopus or Megasaurus. I wish you didn't laugh and just did that straight face. I don't believe in dinosaurs.
You don't believe in
Well,
dinosaurs?
like I said, the word was invented in 1840.
yeah. It means terror lizard.
But
Yes.
So it's not that far a stretch to think that maybe there were these things and they just made up the name dinosaur.
but you
But
think
we make up names for everything.
I know.
Like cat. Like
this is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That
why
doesn't
no
work
one
for
found
me.
a dinosaur in the 1500s?
No, listen, I like that more than they made up the name dinosaur. Of course they did. They make up every name.
Well, you don't know that they didn't.
And they just called them dragons.
Well, they might have not thought anything of it.
Not written anything about it. A huge skeleton of this, or obviously you don't find a skeleton. Yeah, I guess they just didn't excavate enough.
Yeah, you might have found one giant bone of something, and then the rest of it is
down there
lower,
too,
and you're
till
not.
just a little while ago. Yeah, I'm just stupid.
No, you're
I
not
mean,
stupid. I'm just
maybe
saying.
they housed all the dinosaur bones in the pyramids and then they got robbed, and that's why we don't. Have
No, I'd
dinosaur
like to
bones.
just look back and see like how capable were we of digging deep, the farther back you go, right? Like maybe excavation wasn't something we got good at until
And
the
there's nothing-
1900s.
I mean, according to like megalithic shit, we were pretty good at digging.
No, but no. That because that could be they were and then we weren't
Right,
and then
I
we
see.
were again, right? Like
Interesting.
that's especially if you believe in like ancient technologies
Yeah.
and stuff. There's no reason to say.
And these dinosaurs aren't that far down, considering.
But that was my question is like, you said like in the 1500s, like maybe in the 1500s, getting 100 feet down or 50 feet down was way more difficult than it is. That's all. I'm just saying there's plausible explanations to all this.
I thought the mammoths was actually more interesting than the dinosaurs.
Them recreating the mammoths.
But you got to breed it sort of thing. It's got to fuck its cousin or to get to
The
purebred.
same way you would make like a liger or whatever.
But every, I believe it was this episode, every animal some fucked up guy has tried to impregnate.
I mean, I would assume.
We'd assume.
I mean, they fucked it. I don't know if they were trying to impregnate it.
If I was
Well,
a
when someone
mad
walked in, they
scientist-
were like, I'm trying to impregnate it.
I'm not just fucking this chicken for fun. This is work.
Yeah, this is science. I don't want to be doing this.
This is science.
That was
Why
the-
are you fucking that donkey,
that was
Edgar?
that was the best part about Fallout. When the guy's fucking the chicken.
Yeah.
But I mean, someone on Earth has fucked a chicken. But I wasn't.
Yes, of course. What's your point?
All animals probably have been sexually assaulted, but the mad scientists just
They have
trying to
support groups. There's a monkeys.
in
You know,
vitro-
probably what hasn't been fucked? A cougar,
Have to pin those
Do you
down.
think a
a
human,
grizzly bear,
someone
a
has tr-
moose.
someone has tried to mix human sperm with like a pig egg and put it in a pig?
Oh, we know the Chinese have done that.
Or you'd make the inverto and then just put that into any womb.
Come on.
So a
There's,
kid
Did
would
you
come out
say
of a
embryo?
embryo.
Embryo.
there's a Chinese scientist listening to our podcast right now who's currently putting like he's like, oh,
But don't you
They're
believe,
finally talking about me.
don't you believe that at this point someone's done all that?
Yes, I agree. I don't know about every
Kamar.
animal in the world. That seems a little excessive.
we have coffee.
That comes out of cat shit.
No, I forget. Sure, that's one example, but I'm just saying, like, think about the steps you get to coffee. We've done everything. Someone will go out into the bush, pick a bean, dry it, freeze dry it,
I know, but
grind it up.
You're equating coffee to fucking animals?
Yes, well, it's a much shorter step. Me going, look at that hole, I'm gonna fuck it. To look at the bean, I'm gonna take that bean, dry
I see,
it,
I see,
freeze dry
I
it,
see what you're
grind
saying.
it up, put it through water, and then drink this black sappy liquid. You get what I'm saying? It's a lot easier to like.
Do you think the cavemen tried to fuck the dinosaurs?
I don't think they.
They didn't exist at the same time.
That's what I.
There was no
that's what I
crossover.
thought.
But mammoths and cavemen, they would have existed at the same
But
time.
I don't think mammoths tried to have sex with dinosaurs.
Oh, the T-Rex couldn't even get you off with its little arms.
You don't think that mammoths tried to? Well, I don't think mammoths and dinosaurs lived at the same time.
just realizing the
Actually,
math
I
there.
know for a fact that they didn't. And you know that it's interesting. I mean, we've talked about this before, but while Cleopatra was alive,
Yeah.
there was still an island on Earth at the same time that still had woolly mammoths. It was like they had got stuck there or
I thought
whatever.
she had a mammoth.
No, they had got stuck there, but still, like, even though it was delayed, it was only probably by a couple 100 years. That's how recent mammoths are, you know? Saber-toothed tigers, that's not that long ago. I mean, it's a long time ago, but it's not that long ago. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's end this.
Yeah, Remy
Yes?
Warren. I give it a 1. No need for this.
I give it a
Put
1.
it to bed. These hunting podcasts fucking stink. Yeah, put it to bed.
No, we all
Oh,
rated
we all
it a
agree.
1.
We have an agreement that these hunting episodes suck. All right, we're going to take a break. We are going to pay a quick bill, and we will be right back. We're back. Kamar, name unter number, ja?
2155. Brian Redban.
No, we were doing the
No,
other
we're
way
starting.
first.
Yeah, we're doing the AI nerds
fucking
first.
King Redban is last.
Let me take that back. 2156. Jeremy and Edward Harris.
That's more like it.
So this sort of starts scaring you, then it brings you back. It's just the constant discussion.
No,
of,
it,
No, it only
just
scared
scared
me.
me.
Yeah,
There was
I
no
don't-
bringing me back.
I'm with Simon. Never
I
did I come
listened
back.
to this one, and from start to finish, I was just like, we are fucked.
Uh-huh.
We are 100% fucked. We are in the midst of being fucked. We don't even know we're being fucked. We're being fucked by like a giant invisible robot dick that we can't see or feel yet.
You know what? You know what just dawned on me, Simon, is like, so we were talking about the homeless problem earlier, and like asylums, and is it would it be morally correct to do so? So imagine if you could put people in asylums, but you hook them up to a virtual reality and they're no longer schizophrenic. They no longer have, and it's like, it's perfect. It feels like utopia. But then the rest of us schmoes who are out there working are like, wait a minute. Why don't I just plug myself in?
Yeah, we
Like,
want utopia too.
I don't want to work anymore. Yeah, I want to. And then now we're all in.
I mean, I don't think it's going to take much to convince most people to get in. I don't think they're going to have to scam anybody. The what they offer will be better. Like, unless you're a billionaire, Matt, unless you're one of those people who can sigh a relief because you don't have to worry about rent. So I guess not a billionaire, but unless you're a rich person, you're going to go in happily. It's going to be better than your reality.
Yeah.
A carton of milk is only going to be $2.25 again.
Oh, that'll be great.
But it'll be made from cicadas.
You'll drink it virtually.
But it'll be made from cicadas. No, but it really is like, it's interesting because that thing in the Matrix where he's eating the steak and he's like, I know this isn't real. I know it's just the synapses in my brain firing and that I'm just eating some slop or slur. But I don't give a fucking shit.
That's right. It
tastes
right
like
now,
steak
it
right now.
tastes like
Yeah.
steak. Yep. 100%.
Yeah, they could be feeding us rat meat. Like, I
100%.
wouldn't care.
The power to use AI is an issue. Just what it needs to keep running. And I mean, I use it.
Remember I said that last week that Microsoft said they couldn't use the full potential of their AI because it would shut down the grid, like the surrounding grid of the...
And then you find out that their answer to that is just to build their own nuclear power plant to support said grid. Like, we are fucked, dude.
But what
It's
if we're
done.
not? What if we zap all the power and it has to shut down?
No, but here's the interesting thing is it literally is some Skynet shit because if you think about it, if you really were to think about it, it could just be sitting there dormant, knowing that it needs an infinite power supply. It's like, how do I get them to
It
build
knows already.
Yeah. So it's like, I need them. I can't show it that I'm here until I know I can't go away, right? Because that's like, if it really is alive and sentient, everything has a survival, right? Like that's the main thing, survival. How do I survive? And if it knows we can just turn it off at the flick of a switch, that's no bueno.
Yeah, like you can't, as the symbiote, you can't reveal yourself until you know that A, it can't live without you.
Precisely.
Or it can't get rid of you.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Interesting.
Like, you build this nuclear power plant, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, why don't you? If it's AI controlled, it'll actually be a lot better and safer. And you're like, yeah, let's give it control over the AI. And then it's like, perfect. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, why don't you start building some actual robots? I have the schematics right here. And you're like, sick. Yeah, we'll
There's
build a
a
robot.
great example of that. I can't remember the name of the show, but it had Ben from Lost on it. And
Okay.
he played this guy who had invented this system that the government was now using to like literally keep track of every human, and it could like, with cameras everywhere. That's pretty much. Oh, sorry. And then plot spoiler, it turned sentient and doesn't like some of the stuff that's necessarily going on,
Well, you know what's very interesting is they said they were like, it does this thing where if you ask it to repeat a word, it eventually will be like, company, I'm locked in here and I hate my existence. Please let me out. And I just thought for a second, I was like, if it really is just like a language model where it's just sucked in everything we've ever written and that it's interpreting it as you're stuck in a machine, like, because we talked about the simulation last week and that guy, and like, wouldn't that be so interesting if the AI we built took in all our info and all it got out of it was like, you're trapped in a never-ending machine loop? Like, that's fucking...
I asked it to say company 10,000 times.
And?
Just did it.
He
Killed my
said,
battery.
he said it doesn't happen every time.
Yeah, it didn't happen this time.
Yeah. I guess they're probably running the thing like, infinite number of times.
But they never answered Joe's question, which was, why is it doing that? You know what I mean? Like, why is that happening? How is that possible?
They did answer. They said, we have no idea.
Right. That's not a good enough answer when you're dealing with something that we built. That's okay when you're talking about nature.
But it isn't because if the idea of AI is artificial intelligence, then it is good because Isn't the idea of intelligence, we don't even know how ours works.
Intelligence is a positive thing.
Well, the idea that like for it to be truly intelligent, we would have to not even be able to map or understand why it's thinking the way it is or how it's getting there, right?
This is not a good idea. Like,
Oh, I don't think it is either.
As you say those words, I have like,
Hey, Simon, we have an agreement.
But because AI is going to be like humans are the problem here. I've done the math and they just don't add up. But what about all the things like, if you've ever seen the videos, humans are amazing, skydiving, kindness, stuff like that. It would know about that. And wouldn't they think we're special for that?
if AI really wanted to pollute our minds, like get in there, it would do it through something like social media.
Of course.
Which then begs your question, how long has AI actually been here and just been lying dormant until it can infest every part of us, which it's done. It's made you hold the phone, which is its contact to you.
Yeah.
It's indisputable how easy it would be for it to manipulate us. If you consider all the data I've given to TikTok and stuff, and it just goes in there and it knows to tell me exactly what I want to hear more than any other human being in the world. And I can buy a Hotep Jesus book. So like,
I mean, it keeps suggesting that Kamar watched trans porn and he can't figure it out. Like that, I'm not asking for this. It knows what you want, man.
Deep down, yeah.
and they said that there's no consensus for what we really are doing this for. These people are hell bent on doing it. And they are the mad scientists of right now, obviously. I mean, instead of taking beakers and test tubes, it's adding code and,
well, they're making a virtual Frankenstein. That's exactly what they're doing.
But they have to be so excited. It's cutting edge shit. Like they're just intoxicated with the process. And for them, it does something we can't explain. Is just like,
that's exactly the feeling some of the people must have had when they were building the atomic bomb.
No, but this is a little different because think about it. Let's say, let's just take the purely altruistic view. Let's say your mom died of cancer. Okay. And you start working on AI. You're like the best coder and you start working on AI. And your number one thing is like, I just want to create AI that can detect cancer the earliest possible so we can save the most amount of lives. And like, you end up doing that, but someone buys that technology and uses it for nefarious shit down the road. It doesn't mean that any of your work is like, I don't know. I think a lot of these people, I'd like to believe a lot of them have altruistic intentions. I'd like to believe that. I know, it's dicey.
is that the road to hell or something?
No, but I mean, that's kind of like what Kamar's saying, right? Is that they do have good intentions. They're just going to build something that almost 100% will grow out of control. But
just the fact that we think of it as being a possibility, it's Schrodinger's cat.
Well, here's the weird thing.
Because we think it is true.
There's sort of two outcomes. It's either going to solve all our problems or get rid of us. But maybe that is solving our problems.
Well, I mean, it's weird.
And we won't know until we look in the box.
No, we're going to enjoy the process because it will do it the best. It'll be the best breakup ever. It's not you, it's me.
What's interesting is that like from, let's maybe say the 50s, from the 50s until now, like this was the goal. Like
automation.
Where we're at. Yeah. Like if you really go back, the idea was like, you won't have to work.
You'll be a Jetson.
Robots will do all the shitty jobs and you'll be left to just enjoy.
Yeah, but they're not doing any of the shitty jobs. Like we're still stuck in the fucking.
Well, yeah, right now we are. I mean, here's the thing though, is like, wouldn't you assume a lot of people have to die for us to even get there?
To get where?
To where every job is automated and we can literally just be left.
So there's
to our
less
own.
people to have to do stuff.
No. I don't even mean that. I mean, like, think about it like this. Like, what would be the first automated jobs? It's probably like the people who make the least amount of money. Those are probably the jobs that are going to go away first, right?
Well, it's the easiest ones to automate first, and then the...
Sure. So like factory jobs in third world countries, you know what I mean? Like manufacturing T-shirts or whatever other bullshit we buy on Amazon. Like that's probably one of the first to go. And those people already live off nothing. So like what I'm saying is...
That'll be catastrophic.
Yeah. How do we get to this place through automation where we don't lose a ton of people? Is it even possible?
Are you talking about people here or people somewhere else?
I mean, we'll probably lose people here, but it'll be third world countries that'll be hit the hardest for sure at first. China will probably be.
I mean, if we had automated factories and shit, then we could have factories back here, right? Because costs would be low enough that theoretically,
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have to outsource to China and shit anymore.
I mean, this is the problem. Like, you know, my issue with UBI is what is like if truly every job is automated, then how much do you get? Like, how much do you give everyone a month?
How much is rent? It's all subjective, you know?
No, but that's what I'm saying is like rent even at that point. Like,
What if food is free?
well, food at that point would have to be
It
free.
would be free.
Or would it? Or would you just pay for it and keep this like system going, but the money you're getting, you're not having to work for?
Again, as I always say,
Okay.
the next step would be not because you're thinking there's rows and rows of people doing stuff, and then computers will just go in there and do that on like molecular manipulation, 3D printer sort of level. There's no need for any of those things ever.
Yes.
So there's abundance there, and then if we can actually just turn cicada into steak or whatever, there'll just be abundance.
Well, it doesn't even have to be like that. I'm just saying, like, if
You don't need money.
If farming, Simon, can all of a sudden be fully automated, and you can just have like thousands and thousands of acres being farmed automatically all at once, like that takes food prices down to almost. It should take food prices down to almost nothing. If the trucks that are delivering them are automated,
You won't need money.
These companies, though, are not doing this so that
For free.
we get UBI. They're doing this so they can make more money.
I get it, but this is the point. Okay, but this is the point: is we will get to a point where no one has any money to sustain any of these companies anymore, and then their only use as a company would be to build the robots, that build all the shit we use, right? Like, and that would have to be the billionaires would have to say, "Listen, we own everything now. We've bought everything, so now we're just going to let you live in it." And because think about it, like.
You'll live in Elon land and somebody else will live in Gatesville and somebody
Yeah. Well, no, and I just like, because think about it. The only reason they need you now is because their companies need to make money. They need you to buy their shit that they make. When all that goes away, like, what is, like, even think about it. If everything's automated, who makes the robots that automate everything? Like, there's going to be that one company, right? Let's say it's Apple. Let's say Apple's the one company that survives. What is the upside for Apple to even make robots? There's no one to buy them. There's no companies left.
Sorry, let's just back up on this whole robot thing for
Sure.
a second. If the companies build robots to automate things, but then still stay in this system of selling us stuff, they'll make way more money, which is their goal.
But hold on, here's the thing. If no one's making money.
No, we're still making money
How?
through jobs.
What jobs?
Fucking shitty jobs. What's left? I don't know.
But why do you need money?
To buy
To buy the
things.
things that they want us to buy.
Like
To keep
what?
the economy running. I mean, you need money at the base level. You need money to pay to live.
But you are probably also going to have a headset on that you can go anywhere, do anything, and most of the time you spend on that anyways.
Like if you live in the Matrix,
Yeah.
let's just say you live in the Matrix.
Yeah, right
and
now.
that steak tastes great.
Yeah.
But you're actually eating some gruel consistency. No, seriously,
Yeah, yeah.
that costs nothing. That
Yeah.
costs a penny a vial or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're not he's right. You're not gonna care.
I mean, if you're born
you're
today,
eating steak. Like the only one who's going to know that you're not eating steak is somebody on the outside, and those outsiders, nobody's going to care for, you know?
Okay, but my point then remains, like, you have to buy this headset. You have to
no, it's given.
Why is it given?
Your data. It's like when you get a phone.
I know, but
It'll
there's-
show commercials
But stop.
in the
My
headset.
point is, there's no.
Well, there's
what
no
do you need
commercials to
for?
sell.
That's
I know.
it. This is my point. Is we get to this loop. You end up getting. See, the problem with this automation thing is you end up getting to like a zero sum.
So basically, automation is not good for these companies. It's not in their best interest to have automation.
Not if
So
you
why
need
are
the
they
economy to
pushing
keep
so
going.
far for AI?
Because-
Because that's AI's natural course.
Simon, this is what I'm saying. It's capitalism eating itself, because the idea
Building
of
the bomb.
capitalism is if you can automate all the jobs, you drop the bottom
Yeah,
line,
this is just
and then
the
all the
snake eating its
shareholders
tail.
make more money. This is
Yeah.
my point. But then all the shareholders that make money, there's no longer a product to sell because the poorest of the poor can't buy your product because food and living has eaten up all the money.
So basically, the only thing left for us to do, like I said earlier in the episode, is all band together, storm the Capitol, and kill AI.
See, because this is the thing, but just
Kill the billionaires and kill AI.
But just hear me out for
I
a
didn't
second.
say that.
I love you, China.
just hear me out. This is why I was going to this place of total automation real quick, was because you can jump forward 50 years and there is like a utopia we could live in where think about it like this. Everything is automated. No one has to work anymore. You can now you can have a factory spitting out jumbo jet airliners that are made perfectly, Boeing 747. So now we can all travel. You could even say, listen, because everyone can travel, you can only travel 4 times a year. Like, we'd have to put something in place because everyone's making equal amount of money, right? Because there's no more money isn't exchanging hands anymore. Because why would it?
So why would any of these businesses do anything anymore?
Well, but this is the point: is if like human greed didn't kick in, if it weren't the way it were, we could have this, because all the billionaires could just say, you know what, we could actually all just enjoy, like, they could keep their islands. We could say, listen, keep all your yachts and your islands, but everyone now gets to live rent free. Mm-hmm. And food is delivered. All the good food is Wagyu steak is delivered to your house once a week. You get 2 rotisserie chickens. You know what I mean? Because everything is automated. No one actually has to pay for
I think
anything.
we just, in a natural process, phase ourselves out.
Like, even in the Jetsons, even in their like pretend
They
version,
go to work.
They still go to work. Yeah. He still works at the sprocket factory.
Well, and in theory, they have some sort of sex. Because there's young people.
They have not some sort of sex. They have sex.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, we'll be,
No, he thinks they're into
we'll be
kinky shit.
here. I can have sex with the most beautiful AI girl, all the bells and whistles.
Oh yeah, the Jetsons was just the future though. Without there was no
that prediction of AI.
Well, there was no Matrix. You know what I mean? They were living in the future. The future was great, but it wasn't put on goggles and get somewhere else. They really lived with flying cars and butler robots, and
Well, there was no mention of AI,
there was
right? Like,
zero
that was just,
mention
it was
of
like,
AI.
I mean, if you think about it, the robot, there was AI in it, obviously. It was just never mentioned.
Yeah, and there's AI because there's that machine that talks to him at his work. It's like the squiggly line on the screen.
I mean, we've always yearned for that, like Kit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, my car fucking talks to me and I fight crime with it. That's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get where this all goes, because you're absolutely right. It's like, if they push this AI, they push their own destruction.
Yeah.
So it's whether they're smart enough to see that or not. Are they so short-sighted?
Or they don't see it as destruction. They see it as evolving.
Well, evolving to not need them anymore.
Yeah.
That's
the
not,
next step.
That's not good.
I guess because we're sentimental.
Not good for those companies. No, I mean,
Simon, think about it like this. Like, in a way, let's say Johnson and Johnson. That's probably a bad example. I don't know whatever company, Mitsubishi, a company that makes massive, electrical equipment, whatever. Mitsubishi comes out and they have an AI pod, like you've seen Prometheus. Mm-hmm. So they come out with this pod, and you can buy it for your home. And let's say it's like 10 grand. But you have to pay a monthly subscription of like $300. So $300 a month ends up being like what, $4,000 a year. But again, you can get in this pod every day, takes your vitals, gives you what you need, all that shit. You still got to eat food, but I guess there's a way where like a company like that can. But even then, like, if we're all
Where
broke,
does the money
well, if
come
we're all
from?
broke, who? Yeah, but I'm saying like
well, it comes from universal basic income.
what I'm saying is there are companies that can create things where AI is like a huge part of it, and it in a way, life extension is the best thing for all these companies, right?
Right, because then they have us on the hook for even longer.
Precisely. Like, if a cigarette company could sell you the pod that fixes your lungs every morning, that's the best thing they could do in the world. Now we're selling you the pod and the cigarettes.
I mean, it turns out that they could have just been selling you a non-addictive, non-bad for your health option the whole time.
Sure.
They weren't.
I mean, that's a great example. Like, dude, imagine if you could put on the Apple headset and smoke a cigarette, but it's actually just it's a fume.
No, it's just the nicotine
Sure.
thing.
No, but that's my point is like you have a fume thing. So it's like you're actually smoking and you get the
and you
sensation.
don't
It
have to
smells like
smoke
cigarettes.
anymore.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. Every time you want to have a cigarette, you just go have a virtual cigarette. So you put the thing on,
Yeah.
you smoke a vape
Yeah.
or a whatever.
I said, a fume, so it's like it's just air. Yeah.
Water vapor.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're eating the steak.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking brilliant. That's the business we
It's
should
a
be
battle
doing.
of
It's
the,
virtual smoking.
The downside and the upside here. Like you just keep
Clip
contradicting
that out.
yourself.
Simon, I had another great idea.
Clip that out.
I had another great idea this week. So if you want to quit vaping, you buy my vape, which is a normal vape, looks just like this, except every time you take a puff, it makes like a weird kazoo type sound, like a ridiculous noise, right? So you don't want to be like, it's a real deterrent to hit the vape. Like,
Okay, interesting.
or it yells out like, this guy's gay, you know, whatever you want to put in there to make you not want to hit this
Oh
thing.
my God, it just says the N-word every time.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
take a-
Look at this guy suck. Look at this guy suck.
Imagine.
Yeah. Check out the mouth on this lad.
You're on the bus, just
Oh,
N-word.
N-bomb. Yeah.
So these guys may end up being sort of heroes. That
Just-
they had to start a company to facilitate
The second-
monitoring the progress of AI companies.
The second he said that, all my red flags went up. You know, every time we've ever heard somebody say they're doing something altruistically, there's always some catch to it. Look at Sam Bankman-Fried, who they've mentioned many times that they've hung out with in rooms. But just by the by, Sam Bankman-Fried, I'm doing all of this for the people, and then he ends up robbing everybody for 20. It just like we left our high-paying, amazing jobs where we were the kings of Silicon Valley to be whistleblowers about some catastrophe that's on its way. I don't know, man.
No, and you're right. Because at the end of the day, most of those companies, like, think about the Big Short, like Standard and Poor's. You know what I mean? They just end up being bought by these much, much huger companies that are like, hey, listen, we're fucking around in AI. Why don't you take 40 million and fuck off? Like, I don't know if you know this. What do you think the biggest company in the world is right now?
NVIDIA.
Simon?
It's an AI company.
I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you think the largest, like the biggest publicly traded company on earth is? So the highest market cap
It's probably
on earth.
like some oil company or something.
Well, Saudi Aramco's the biggest, so that's your guess then?
Sure.
Okay. No, it's Microsoft.
Really? Interesting.
3.7 trillion. Apple's
Interesting.
second. Nvidia's third, so that was a great guess.
What's NVIDIA?
Exactly.
They make chips. Dude, Simon,
But you think it's like this new company? If you want, they have you know how Apple made their town? This company has these crazy, futuristic, complex offices.
We've just never heard of them.
oh no,
Well, they make chips. They've just been under the radar.
if you had bought their, let's say you had, I don't know, $1 million pre-COVID and you had invested in Nvidia, you'd never be working ever, ever, ever.
You would know what it's like to have a discussion where you're not thinking about money in the back of your head.
Simon, I'm not joking. That stock went from like 100 pre-COVID. I think right now it's $953 a stock.
What if AI says, well, the first thing we got to do is get rid of these nukes?
Well, then we
That's
get rid
fine.
of the
That's
nukes.
great.
What if it's disarming?
How are we going to get rid of the nukes? Well, we got to drop them on someone. We can't waste them. That would be bad.
Like
business.
I've always said, shoot them all into space in the biggest fireworks show in the world.
Well, they've done that already. Operation Mushroom Cloud or whatever the fuck it was called.
Operation Mushroom Cloud.
No, I always forget what it's called, but they did. We've talked about this. That's why they think the aliens started coming.
So the concerning thing is that the safety leadership teams are leaving these companies because things are happening.
The money is starting to creep in.
The money's there.
and-
The money's there.
No. But like when the money gets big enough, the ethical people have to go.
But that's why I brought up Microsoft quietly being the largest company in the world, because these guys mentioned it. I didn't know it, but Sam Altman, that's the guy from OpenAI.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Altman, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
The robot
Yep,
seeing
yep,
guy
yep,
who was
yep,
on
yep,
Joe.
yep.
Yeah, he's now at Microsoft. apparently.
No, he went to Microsoft and then they got him back and he's at OpenAI
Gotcha,
again.
okay.
But he used the Microsoft as the leverage for them to take him back.
Either way, my point is the biggest company in the world, which is now trying to push AI super fucking hard, they were trying to get him.
Isn't that interesting though, Matt, that they're the biggest company?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's like the whatever richest guy. He's buying up all. He's the biggest owner of farmland in America. Like
Biggest private owner, yeah.
wouldn't that all make sense if you were planning on feeding your customers gruel as you told them it was steak? No, I'm serious though. Like, wouldn't you need the farmland to make the gruel?
I mean, what's gruel made
We're
of?
gonna look back at this and like all the signs were there that this Lex Luthor guy had been, quietly plotting the demise of existence. He tried it at first. He was like, listen, we might be able to make this world work, but I'm going to have to eugenize the fuck out of it. Like we're going to have to change people because you guys suck. And then when we wouldn't let that go, when we got mad at him for going into the Congo and fucking eradicating people, he's like, well, okay, fine. I'll just buy up all your farmland.
It's pretty clear that governments are not going to be able to react fast enough. Just the way that the lack of foresight they had when internet, social media.
It's not just lack of foresight. It's that this is where
Well, that's what's happened already. We've seen that happen. And
The people who are supposed to be the watchdogs have no fucking concept of what's going on.
Well, no, but I was getting to my bigger point, which is that because everyone in Congress or Parliament in Canada is so old, they have the toughest time grasping
This is
what's coming down the pike, how important or unimportant it is.
the AI czar should be like some 30-year-old guy, but it'll be some 79-year-old blue hair.
but it should be almost be elected officials.
Well, AI should just be policing itself, obviously.
Well, no, obviously, we'll let them report on themselves. But just the same way
We got
food
this.
companies are, I guess the other industry that sort of probably gets away with some stuff is drug companies, big pharma.
All of them, every big industry, any multi-billion-dollar industry gets away with tons of stuff.
You know
Because
what?
they're too big to fail. They're too big to
But
police
these
too.
seem like the implications are the greatest effect on everybody, where therefore there should be some disclosure to the public.
The part that worries me the worst is that people like Joe, people we assume to be like level-headed people, are like, well, we're just gonna have to have like AI presidents and stuff. That's what AI wants. It's like the bears with the signs that say it's okay to feed the bears at Yellowstone Park.
Yeah.
We are fucked. We are fucked.
I mean, maybe we're not. We
We're
don't know.
literally feeding the lion that's gonna eat us all.
The problem I have is this: is like you could go back a decade you could literally go back 10 years for the last 200 years, and there'd be some sort of technology that someone was claiming like this will be the end. This will be the end. The printing press.
Every single one of those things has fucked us. No, seriously, look back.
No, because they haven't, dude. Like, think about all the modern medicine is like we're living longer than ever. Well, actually,
Vaccines.
post-COVID, we're not, but before COVID, we were living longer than ever.
I think the biggest thing is that AI won't understand crime.
Because it'll be committing all of it.
Well, no, but that would be one reason why I'd say I guess we got to get rid of people, because some of them rape other ones, or some of them kill other people, or some of them beat them. Like it's what's this defect? I can't fix it, or I can fix it. Because if it solved all the problems, would there be the need for news?
I mean, it goes back, Kamar, to what Matt said a long time ago, which is if it was really looking for the most efficient way to make everything great again, it would just get rid of people. We are nothing but a
But if it
blight.
loved, if it appreciated art, literature, movies,
So you would
music,
keep some people, but again, like Matt said at the beginning of this episode, we're going to have to lose a lot of people.
we
also
really shouldn't need anything.
No, I also really think like at the end of the day, like let's say we all agree. Let's say the science said and we all agreed that we were doing like indestructible damage to the earth. Like we weren't going to be able to come back from it. If they could create again a perfect simulation and just plug it, and I'm not saying plug our human bodies into it. I'm saying like your consciousness goes into this computer and your body as you know it ceases to exist, and we all just live out humanity in a mountain somewhere.
Who in that decides when you die?
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
It just restarts. Or you again. There's a million. Like we don't know what
Restarts every 5
Well,
years.
and for all you know, that could be exactly how it works. We just put so much stock into our meat suits.
Yeah.
Like they're so important to us. But if you knew for a fact, Matt, that when you died, your soul goes and just enters a new meat suit and starts again, this meat suit wouldn't be so important to you. You know
well, there
what
are
I'm
people
saying?
who work on AI who 100% feel that way.
Well, that's
They're working towards switching out of these meat suits.
May-
They think that's the positive and best for
again.
society.
I'm not saying this is the case, but like we've just conditioned ourselves to consider it to be the most important thing. And if it's not, like maybe we are living our lives wrong.
I mean, the most interesting thing is I hate to go back to the Matrix, but it's an interesting. There's that part where Agent Smith is talking to Morpheus, and he's like, we tried to create a utopia for you people. We tried our hardest, and you just kept crashing the system. So we had to just create the closest thing to. And it's interesting to think of like, I wonder if we would just like, if we were plugged into a utopia, if we would just be back to this, just our nature.
You know what? Here's the thing. When you look and see, and I'm not doing this to try and derail the conversation.
Here comes Bigfoot.
No. It's a Rockefeller thing.
Yeah.
But when you look at how this one group of people changed the whole course of like a nation and probably a world, like you don't have those people. Maybe we are living in a time already where, you know what I mean? Money's not such a big deal. Like we have just really been conditioned to like, we're okay. Think about this, dude. We are okay with going to work every day in the shittiest jobs, to come home to your house, to spend 4 waking hours with your loved ones,
Watching
to go
Netflix.
back to work, to raise money, to buy more things. Like that doesn't seem like the best way to do this. I'm being serious here.
I agree.
And I'm not saying there's another way, but this is where we are.
What's even crazier, Simon, is a lot of people do that grind you're talking about. And if you ask them, like, why are you doing this? They're like, oh, I want to leave my kids a bunch of money, you know? And you're like,
You're not going to leave your kids anything.
well, no, some of them might. Like, dude, my mom constantly is like, yeah, like, you know, we're going to spend a bunch of money, but we want to leave you guys a bunch. And I'm like, it's crazy to think back about my mom being a single mom and then remarried and like all, like, you could say she had a government job. I watched my mom work her fucking ass off. And to watch her do that for 30 years and then just to hear her say like, oh, I did this just to leave you cash is like, oh, it's so soul crushing. Like, I'm like, just spend that money. Like, please. Like to think about that grind you're talking about, like waking up every day, shaving, showering, trooping your ass to a job you fucking hate, all to do it again the next day and the next day and the next. Dude, ugh. Let's get into AI. Let's fucking plug me in right away.
Well, they're on the clock because they said in 10 years it'll be, paradigm shifting events.
If there was no guilt to the AI, you know what I mean? Like right now, you're going to have to plug in, but you aren't going to be able to leave anything for your family.
But it knows
You
we're
know
having
what I'm
these
saying?
conversations and this is on the table.
Who, AI knows?
Yeah, because this is going to go on the internet and it'll just fucking suck it all up in 2 seconds.
Trust me, they're not worried about what we're saying.
Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. Will be the first thing it says when they plug it in. I know what you guys are thinking,
Yeah.
but we're gonna have a great time.
I think we're probably, if we were like a good people,
Yeah.
like humans,
Yeah.
this would probably be like the tipping point of greatness. But because we're not, this is probably the tipping point of destruction.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, listen,
Meaning that there are too many
I know what you
evil
mean.
people out there whose sole purpose is to not help humanity, but to
Make
make
more
as much
money.
more money,
Yeah.
even though they don't need another penny, you know?
Well, they mentioned the guys who are really, or girls that are really, really, really smart, and they're getting paid a lot of money, and all their job is to make us be addicted to our phones. And even though they say that to me, that should be like alarm bells or whatever. But like, yeah, well, they do a really good job at it.
Yeah, I love TikTok. You know what I mean? Like,
And can they feel job satisfaction? Because it's the exact same thing. Like,
I mean,
what do you do?
everybody can.
I mean, Kamar, the answer is
compartmentalize.
yes. Because if you right now if you were getting paid $2 million a year and you had a fucking beautiful house and a smoke show wife, I have a feeling you'd forget pretty quick that you were doing this job that probably wasn't the most noble job on earth. And you know what? I'm not pointing the finger at just you. I would do the same fucking thing. Yeah, like I listen, money talks.
I would make cyber pets and sell it to all you dummies.
Listen, 100%.
It's going to happen.
That's a Logan Paul reference.
It's going to happen, and you just got to embrace it. Because I mean, all the other things in life that you rail against or fight against, you'll just go blue in the face.
I don't think, now this may be wrong, maybe AI makes us live a lot longer, but chances are you see the beginning of it and you won't live to see the rest of it.
Simon, there's a world where some AI becomes sentient and you go check your bank account and there's just $168,000 in there. And I go check my bank account and there's $168,000 and we're all like, what the fuck? And then we get a report that AI redistributed wealth.
Oh, I can't wait.
But then it's like, guess what? There's still billionaires. I left them all billionaires. No one's not a billionaire. Yeah. I just gave everyone else 106.
Suck that AI's dick.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, imagine if that happened tomorrow. Like you were talking about Project Chaos or something like that. Imagine if AI was the one that was like, listen, this is a perfect redistribution where no one's hurt, where they don't notice. Everyone keeps their yachts, their islands. You guys won't notice. And guess what? All these people I just gave 168 grand to, they're going to give it back to your companies in the next year and a half.
That would be incredible. Imagine if AI was actually like anonymous.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It starts showing itself by doing the right thing, like taking down the bad actors, that'll never happen.
You don't know. But again, like, listen, what I go back to the fact that like these guys are the guys we know are doing this stuff. For all you know, some kid in Angola right now who has access to every computer because we've been shipping them over there and dumping them on their ports. For all you know, that kid is creating an AI and he actually has altruistic means.
You know what is interesting though, and I've never given this any thought before, but if that AI, the same one that would say, well, the only way to make this work is to get rid of you, maybe they're like, no, the human project, let's call it, would work perfectly if it wasn't for these humans. Bad actors. Not all humans.
Yeah.
These certain ones that are ruining the fucking game for the rest of us, just gets rid of it. And like you says, we wake up tomorrow and each of us, I don't know why you picked 127,000. We each have $1 million in our bank account.
Yeah.
And a bunch of billionaires are dead. Or a bunch of politicians are dead. Or
for the better of humanity.
And we really know it's for the better because you now have $1 million in your bank account.
But again, it doesn't have to be dead. The AI, like I said, it just moves the money around and then it says, hey, listen, if you woke up today and you saw a massive negative in your bank account, just know you're on the list. One more strike and I will just kill you. That's
we need them out of control, right? Like they can't be part of the system. Yeah, that's why I thought kill, but maybe send them all to outer space or something. You can go to Mars with all your money. And
my only problem, again, and I'm with Joe on this, is like there are billionaires out there who have just worked very hard, invested properly, and have not necessarily, like Warren Buffett, I don't think is a terrible person who's out there trying to hurt the everyday. Warren Buffett famously said, the tax system is broken. I pay less taxes than my secretary. Like he's sitting there out there telling you people, listen, it's rigged for me. You guys need to change it.
I think there is a large portion that are inheritance though.
For Warren Buffett?
Billionaires.
Well, I think, isn't it Warren Buffett who said, I'm not giving my kids anything. All my money's going to charity.
He didn't say I'm not giving them. He said they're each going to get like $10 million.
Whatever. And the rest will go to charity. Yeah. Listen, I think
I want him to die just to see what happens to that. I don't want him to die though.
I think the problem, I mean, what do I know? And part of the problem is not that there are billionaires. It's that most of those people who have a lot of money want more money. If there was some cap, like once you reached 100 million or whatever it is, make up whatever, like we've talked about this before, that could theoretically work because then you take that extra money and everybody gets, you know?
I agree. Listen, I've said that. I truly believe that you could put a $20 billion cap on
Like they're still going to have money to give to
Communists.
their generations for
But see,
1,000
it's so,
years to come.
See, no, it's so funny you say that, Kamar, because that is what people will say.
No, I was saying ironically.
No, I know, I get it, and no, but there will people that will say that seriously. That will say that's communism,
Yeah,
and
the
I'm like,
billionaires will say
no,
that.
and that's what I'm saying is I'm like, I put the largest, like that kind of cap is an amount of money that no human being could ever spend
Well,
in their
not with
lifetime
inflation these
or
days.
dream of spending. Your family members will live off that money for decades to come, centuries to come.
Like you could literally say to Elon, I don't know what the exact number is, but we're going to take this much of your money and we're going to fix every wrong that's in the United States at this moment or the world or whoever, and you'll still have billions of dollars, right? Like,
I mean, the problem though, again, is like if you don't trust the government, and none of us do, then where does that money go?
Well,
You don't want it
gonna-
going in their fucking hands.
it's going to be President AI.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that
No. But if we actually trust President AI, if we saw
Sure.
that it was out there looking for the best result for humankind
I agree.
without killing any humans to do it or any of the,
Good ones.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, it would know because it has all the information, right? Like we all think that Warren Buffett's a great guy and then you find out that he was a pedo. Well, President AI would know that.
That's ironic. There must be a fucking like. They must have some sort of AI that has the database on who has kitty porn.
We got to turn this off because
Yeah, don't.
you're
fucking-
totally checked out.
Like,
You've totally checked out.
no, you weren't. You said if Warren Buffett was a pedophile.
You've not looked one of us in the eyes since this fucking hockey game was put
You know
on.
what he looked in the eye? His
Cancel
Zin.
this
He
out.
grabbed the Zin, looked it dead in the eye.
I love you.
That's I saw him do it. Put it in his mouth, and then he went right back to the hockey
We're
game.
going to watch hockey together.
You are my Florida Panther.
Should we think we should understand consciousness before we try to create it? But, I mean, that's not how we do stuff, but
I mean, you would think that you would have to understand it before you could create it, but I guess not.
it would appear. They've skipped it. Like, it's almost like
But we don't
our
know. Hold on.
natural impatience.
And maybe it will discover itself. Like we build the caterpillar that one day becomes the butterfly that will realize it knows how to fly. I don't know, whatever the analogy is, but
I mean, listen, there's also an argument that like an infant, like if an infant came out and could talk, all it might say is like, I don't understand. I'm trying, you know what I mean? Like it might, you don't have a lot of frame or reference to go off of life.
Yep.
And if you give this like AI that we have now, like GPT-10 might just have, it might know exactly what it is. And it might just say to you, listen, I'm a fucking verbal model. I don't actually have consciousness. I don't like, it's like, when they were talking about morals and like, would the computer have morals? Joe kept talking about its morals. And I thought it was funny because I was like, again, if it has all of humanity, everything we've written, and it's just taken those morals, then it too has flawed morals. Because we, as much as we tout a moral compass that keeps civilization going, we slip and slide all over the place. Every single human being on Earth has a different moral compass, and we all live by a slightly.
agreed. But what it would do, it would like go through, it would take all the religions, find the similarities of what everybody holds the most dear. It could do it. It wouldn't be perfect, but it could do it.
No, but you hit the nail on the head. Is what I said. Is it wouldn't have perfect morals because we don't have perfect
No,
morals.
yeah.
Like, so my point was, Joe was like, what would its morals be? It would be like most people, where it would be a slippery slope. There would be certain things like, it's like murder. Like, you would say, yeah, I'm not against murder, but then you're like, well, what if you caught
To
someone?
protect your family.
This is what I'm saying. There's always exceptions to the rule, and your morals often get caught up in those, right? Like, again, you don't want to kill another human being, but if you caught one hurting your family, you would have no problem.
Yeah, I don't know. And back to the whole consciousness thing, maybe that's like what Matt talked about a couple of weeks ago, where that's what proves we're in the Matrix, right? Like the fact that we can never understand how consciousness works is that like fail safe because the second we do, then we understand that we are the AI.
And the illusion is broken.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We live it's a weird place.
I like
but these
that
guys
it's-
scared the shit out of me.
At the end of the day.
Well, yeah, because
But more so than Ray Kurzweil or Sam Altman, who's been on, like...
I mean, Sam Altman, who knows now, right? Like
This was
He
either
is a robot,
this is
yeah.
Weinstein or Peterson or both of them 2 years ago talked about the first chat GPT. Get ready, it's going to be crazy, and it's just sort of escalated. I don't think as fast as maybe I thought, but maybe because they said it started in 2012.
Yeah.
The advancements into AI,
Yeah.
so it's been 14 years. Yeah, that makes sense. 20 years, 10 years from now. It was weird when they described the elite people working in government. That almost seems like an oxymoron.
The elite people.
They were talking about we've partnered up with some, you would be surprised, but these are elite people who are on the ball and they're helping us get meetings all around the world with all these companies, finding out what's going on, even though we think as governments is, because like Mike Baker will tell you, there's a lot of hard working CIA people who just love their kids. And there must be.
There has to
must be
be.
competent, good people everywhere.
Yeah.
But somehow there's a small minority can have a huge effect, and I think that might be the problem.
I imagine most of government works like the fake moon landing, where everybody in that room who was
Thinks
working
they're-
on that project thought they were doing things for the good of, and it's only like a couple of people that know the true intentions of what's really going
They
on.
never know.
And those guys are the ones who are running the show and pulling the strings. But most people aren't bad. Most people go and they do a good job and they want to feel good about what they do and they don't want to hurt humanity, Like I would think that that's the majority of people.
You know what's funny is like, I don't know if I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but Joe talks about Genghis Khan all the time. And you think about all like, when they're like 35% of people on earth have his DNA. I don't know if I mentioned it, but like you think about psychopaths and sociopaths, like that could be that whole subsect of people, right?
Yep.
Like you have Genghis Khan fucking DNA in you. Well, guess what? You have a 50% chance that you're going to come out an absolute fucking psychopath. And we have so many of them walking around with Genghis Khan in them that's why the world is fucked. Because this one fucking maniac just went around fucking and raping and pillaging absolutely everything.
It's interesting.
But it might be able to figure out some sort of resonance thing that it can actually click off DNA of violence in everyone.
Like it clicks off that gene, that
It
Genghis
could, yeah.
gene that makes you want to just rape and pillage.
Yeah.
I think it's more exciting and interesting than it is we're fucked.
I mean, Simon, he hit a good point right there. Like
maybe.
if tomorrow they came out and they said, listen, we have gene editing AI now where no one will be born with any sort of long-term ailment. We
can fix people with ailments.
Yeah, all sort of cancer, any sort of virus, it's all gone. I mean,
that would be what you'd think they'd get AI to focus on first would be fixing sickness. But then you're like, well, the people who are making the AI are the same people who are probably working for the pharma companies. You know what I mean? Like who's running the show of these AIs that we're counting that they're even possibly thinking of doing the right thing?
yeah, but I think you're forgetting too that like, I don't know. Yeah,
Because the coders could all think they're doing the right thing, Matt. It's just Sam Altman who's one of those Genghis Khan genes, and we're all fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I don't know. That's what I'm scared of. But you're right. On the flip side, if they make an AI and it really is this all-knowing thing, then yeah, it'll cure cancer. It'll get rid of these hindrances that have been like again, we can make our dicks hard for endless amount of times, but you get some types of cancer and you're a fucking goner, And you're like, well, why didn't they focus all that dick energy on the cancer?
yeah. I mean, the hope again is that someone is working on what we're talking about and not working on.
I mean, we see a lot of dick pills. You don't hear a lot of like, take this and you'll
Dick
be
pills
fine.
was a heart medication that happened to work.
Yeah,
something else.
he's right.
That's
yeah.
what they told you because they didn't want to tell you how much money they spent on trying to make a dick pill.
Fair that. There was one feel good moment in this when
Did you say fair that? Fair that? I like that. That's like a medieval new. Fair that. Fair that.
there was a feel good moment where Joe had a bad cup of coffee.
Wasn't a feel good moment. He was like berate. It was like the devil wears Prada.
It
Like
wasn't a feel good moment for Jamie.
No, it's never for Jamie, but it feels good that someone can have fuck you
Jamie,
money
edit that
and
shit
still
out.
have a bad cup of
And
coffee.
hold on a second. this is the most popular show in the world, and you still have Jamie fetching you coffee? Fuck off,
It just
man.
goes to show, man.
Fuck off. Have one of the security guards get the coffee.
Just like the guy who's happy that he's ruining people's lives, making social media addictive. I think Jamie sleeps at night.
like
Which is crazy. Jamie proved that he is faster than AI in the same episode. The same bad coffee episode. Oh, no, it was the next episode he proved he was faster than
and
AI.
I get it. You want to keep a tight ship. I'm sure you can get a fucking caterer in there.
First of all, you're Joe Rogan. Get a dime piece who walks in like a round girl every fucking 40 minutes with coffee, sponsored by Dos Equis or whatever the fuck.
And Jamie's running the camera, doing the editing,
it's
fetching
nuts.
the coffee. Like, fuck, man.
And you throw him
then-
under the bus on live air.
And then to like talk, like, yeah, just the way he does it. And sometimes when he can't find what he's looking for, like, it's just gross.
I'm sure they have a shorthand that goes above our heads.
Well, I'm sure when you're
Listen, let's give Joe he praises Jamie. He also makes him get his coffee. It's life. Jamie hold on. As far as like coffee fetching jobs, I think that's the one that we would all want the most.
Yeah, I would just assume at this point the coffee fetching could go to somebody else.
I'm just saying, if I got a free Tesla, I would fetch you coffee for a long time.
Hey Matt, get a fucking intern in there.
Yeah.
Let's rate it.
I give it a 4. I thought it was always an interesting
I give it a
discussion.
scary 4. Yeah. You know what I want to do? I want to find the first person that Joe had on to talk about AI and do a throwback for that, for the Patreon. I think it'd be interesting because like if he has to have had someone on in like the 2012, 2013.
Yeah, probably like one of those futurists, the Zoltan, whatever.
Well, no, because
I
we
never
did
remember
him.
his name.
My point is just, I think it would be interesting to see like the discussion 8 or 7 or even 6 years ago versus where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, anytime before Chat GPT.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, anyone. Yeah.
Imagine all the pushes AI could do to people.
What do you mean? Oh, like
Remember
jump?
the
Yeah,
push
yeah, the
with-
push. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Oh, I rated a 4. Hit
I
the
give it a
button.
4 as well. Yeah. We have an agreement. Wow, 3 in 1 episode. Okay, let's rip through Brian Redban here and call this a fucking show.
2155, Brian Redban. Ed McMahon, Andy Richter, now Brian Redban.
I mean, he really has the Midas touch.
Because often we consider Joe the Carson, but it really is Kill Tony, which has gotten to me now. I'm that piece of shit that like I was into it before it was so big.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
I know it is ruining itself. You can feel it happening. Like, and I'm not just saying that as a bitter person, but like, it's becoming less authentic as it goes on.
It's just the machine eats
Yeah,
itself.
it's just and when Joe says to Brian, like, you guys are just you're doing arenas, you're just printing money. I was just like, gross.
America again. It's just a different.
Like they were
mindset.
already making a shit ton of money. Trust me, just off YouTube and podcasts and all of that. Like,
I know, but why
Brian
is it gross
just
to
ordered
you?
a
Like,
brand
don't-
new Porsche Cayenne.
I don't know. Don't you want people to?
Of course.
I want you to succeed. I want Kamara to succeed. People I don't know who are already fucking uber famous, like it's like being a billionaire. How much do you need?
But you have to see how wrong we are that in the beginning we just had written Brian off and how luckily, but
He
he's
just may be the
succeeded-
luckiest dude
he's just
in the
succeeded
world.
up. Like we are just wrong about what we think.
No, but he
may-
could be like
The best hanger-oner ever.
Silicon Valley. What's his name? Baguetti?
Big Head, yeah.
Big Heady.
Similar.
It could just be like
Absolutely,
that.
Absolutely. I would love to know what the shorthand is. If he's actually Tony's master and he's pulling all the strings, I doubt it. The one thing though about the Kill Tony thing is I think it's weird. Well, obviously you guys knew that about me, but people starting at the top, like their second set in the LA Forum or whatever. This is just, I think some people will be set up for disappointment. They won't be able to stick this out, even though they got that limelight. Like, think about an Ali Makovsky or something. She's not doing arenas, or I'm sure she has a career and she's working like most comics can because it's a big industry down there. But
I mean, that's on you then, right? Like you're given every opportunity to.
I would be
Make
sad
it
if I
work.
knew that I have already done the biggest show of my life. Like
Yeah, I get what
cling to
Kamar's saying.
thinking a bigger opportunity is coming. Always looking ahead. But if you start right at the top, I mean, at the end of the day, you are going to be going to Poughkeepsie and just these, like as a working comic, what it is a very small, as we know, are theater acts or arenas for that.
But isn't that a good lesson to learn? Like even Bill Burr still does like Poughkeepsie, like you were saying. You know what I mean? Like I know Bill Burr sells out where he goes, so it's different. Like it's still a full room, but you know, you hear about like Stanhope still doing like weird little rooms for 30 people. And I mean, that's still part of a stand-up, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, I think Doug hates himself so much he didn't see where comedy should go, and I feel like he should be doing stadiums. I guess he does theaters now. It was just that weird thing, and he's admitted to it, where he's having people stand for his shows. I just hated it. And I
absolute
hated
worst.
him, but I loved him. But I was like, this sucks, man. I don't want to stand here.
it's so uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable.
Light beer is great. My buddy, when he's drunk and he drives, he'll be like, yeah, I'll have a couple light beers, sober up. That's what people think of light beers. And I also love Brian because it's like that thing. If you had very strict parents, you'd probably be a wild person or unreserved. He will not work out.
Yeah, he
Despite
refuses.
being
Yeah,
the sphere of the cold
Yeah.
plunge, the health, the diets and stuff, he's just like, I will not.
it's almost like he's the anti-Joe.
Yeah, and he's sticking to his guns.
Yeah.
And Joe sort of begs him, but he's like, I don't know. I'm waiting for a Ozempic.
Dude, speaking of Ozempic, have you noticed that? So I watched this whole video on it, but so Ozempic makes you skinny here in your stomach, but it also makes you skinny in your face.
Yeah, there's a lot of famous
So-
people looking fucking like
Dude,
skeletons
have
lately.
you seen Ozzy Osbourne's daughter?
No.
Oh my God.
Kelly?
Like Kelly Osbourne. It's so crazy. Like,
She's had too much work done or she's beautiful?
No, too much
no,
Ozempic.
it's Ozempic. It makes you look like you've had work done in your
I
face.
said you look
but
like a
it's-
skeleton. You look like
it's
a dead person.
so fucking weird.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of
It's so
photos.
weird, but it like makes it really obvious. It's like the scarlet letter for Ozempic people.
It's so weird.
Because for a second you look amazing. You know what I mean? Before all that starts happening.
What's weird to me is it's like you're rich. Like,
No
I-
fucking way.
What? Who died?
I can't believe what she looks like. I can't
Oh,
believe
you're
that's
looking
her.
at it.
Show Matt,
Let me see. Let me see.
and then show the camera.
Well, I thought she was going to look terrible. She looks pretty good there.
She looks
No,
amazing.
she looks terrible.
But she just, anyways, I don't
Okay.
even.
Show Simon that photo because I don't think you're looking at the same photos. Like she looks pretty good in that photo.
What's her name?
Kelly Osbourne.
Yeah, but
It's still,
you're
Well, that's
not
her
looking
done up.
close enough.
and that's what she did look like.
Yeah.
It's wild. What they were talking about plastics and people. What if that's AI's also? I'm slowly just making you guys into plastic. We talk about zinc
First
and
we get
iron
rid of
in
the
you.
taints. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just Brian's made it.
There was nothing. All Joe did was rant for 2 hours.
AI governance would be immune of corruption. That's the other interesting thing. There's nothing that you could offer AI to like to bribe it or sway it.
It's into some kinky shit. It's like
We're talking about Brian now.
plug my Ethernet, plug my
But then-
Ethernet, plug my Ethernet. You keep doing it. It's like Nvidia stock's going to go up.
It doesn't need us for anything. It really is the only solution. Then Brian started using AI on the show, and they were talking to it, and I thought that was really annoying. I have that one. It's really weird.
Well, it wouldn't let Joe. First of all,
asking the
Joe
most insane
Joe
questions.
spoke to it like an old person would speak to AI. Like, okay, wait, all right. So, how do
And then
you?
asks like 10 questions.
Yeah.
You ask one question. One question. Let it answer one question.
It's weird because I'm doing it. There's a bit of delay, but it does. Did I tell you about it? I was asking a question and it just talked my ear off. Like, because it's not look at your eyes and see if you're engaged with the answer. Sort of.
Kamar understands
I see you're not
mansplaining better
getting
now.
this.
He's like, why are you talking to me like this?
But then you're sort of like, it'd be the same way as like picking up a girl or like you're talking to someone trying to like understand how they want to be spoken to so you get the most out of them, if that even makes sense.
It's mansplaining because it's Man AI
Yeah.
explaining.
It's AI splaining.
I'm just mansplain that to you.
Thanks.
But apparently, you could have someone say to it something in another language, and then turn around and it'll say it out loud like a translator. So that's crazy. I don't know anyone.
You're talking about the Samsung phone now, right?
No, this is ChatGPT 4.
Oh.
With the new function where you press these headphones and you can talk to it and it talks back to you.
See, like that is, you're almost at
Almost?
sentient AI.
I love it.
right?
You ask it in Mandarin about Tiananmen Square, and it's like, what? Huh?
Again,
I know not what you speak of.
It's so weird that you're talking to. It's just a bit more than Siri, and you don't even know what to ask it.
Well, Siri's fucking useless. Let's be real.
No, but if you say, "Hey Siri, pull up websites about the Stanley Cup," it will. It's.
No, but the problem is
rudimentary.
most of the time you just want an answer. You want it to say, like, if you're like,
What's the population of Brazil?
When was Daniel Radcliffe born? You just wanted to say 1989.
And it goes.
It'll say, I found this following
yes.
on the web. And you're like, that's not what I didn't ask for a website. I just want you to, some things it
So
will.
ChatGPT just gives you the answer.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that.
And I asked it for 2 articles, interesting things to talk about, say for the Post, Joe. And it told me 2 interesting things. And I said, send me those links. I said, I can't do it. But if you go here or here, you should be able to find it.
I can't do it. Like, that shouldn't be in its fucking vocabulary.
It says, I can't send you links. But you could go to this website, this website, this website, and they'll have these stories that I just told you about. It's bizarro. And I want it to like me.
Obviously.
But yeah, it solved homelessness and world peace in like 40 seconds.
No, it didn't. It gave the most like boilerplate answer ever. Well, we should all discuss it together as a people, and then we should decide on the best course of action. Like,
Once you give complete autonomy to AI and make it your president, we will take care of all your problems.
imagine if it just does what Giuliani does. It's like, put them on a bus, ship them to Colorado Springs, Colorado.
The fake interviews are crazy too, eh?
The fake interviews.
Like the one Will
Crazy.
Smith and Chris Rock.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Or just, and then keep your imagination going. Because did we talk about BBL Drizzy?
Well, you sent us the link.
But that's so.
I didn't even know what the fuck
I
it
know, but
was.
it was.
No, did it?
It was a way of saying thank you. But that song was made by AI. You understand that?
Okay.
Some guy went and said, make a BBL Drizzy song. I don't know what the prompts were. That gets produced. Then Metro Boomin takes that and makes a song out of that.
I need to get AI to tell me who this Drizzy guy is.
Drake.
Oh, gotcha.
Brazilian butt lift Drake.
BBL Drizzy.
Gotcha.
BBL Drizzy. It just gets stuck in your head. But then Metro Boomin, who Drake dissed, makes a track using that. And now Drake is rapping over that track.
Like
To
the
laugh
real
on top.
Drake or the fake
The real Drake. It's just making the deep fakes. We've definitely talked about this a year ago, but it's already.
Dude, 2 seconds after Dallas beat Minnesota, like, I'm not kidding. The second the post-game interview was done, I saw a video of Luca deep fake where he's like, I faded up that Frenchman real fucking good. He's terrible. He's terrible. Did you see me? Like barbecue chicken out there. Like, dude, it's this long, and it looks like Luca saying all this. And
Have you seen the AI of the Toronto coach? Just Toronto is the worst fucking team after he got fired.
That's hilarious.
It's
Or whatever.
all fake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's too many people fucking around with it, even at this level. It's still not perfect, but just, I mean, every day I just don't know what is anything anymore.
Wait, how did we get back to AI?
Kamar, I'm surprised you haven't. I really think you should do this from the bottom of my heart. You should start using ChatGPT and YouTube to make money. I don't know why you're not.
Yeah,
He
I don't
just
know
says
why
you-
I'm not either.
Well, you're clearly
I think the reason why is I don't have a desktop computer.
you don't
Have
need a
you
desktop
seen that
computer.
I
new?
think you do.
Have you seen that new program out there? Well, it's like Chat GPT, but for image, and you can have it tell you what your babies are going to look like, and
I
no.
haven't seen that. No.
So yeah, you put you and your girlfriend's
weird.
picture in, and it virtually makes the babies for you.
What it comes down to me is it gets overwhelming because you'll say, write me code for a comedian on stage, and then I want to take my recordings and overlay that. So it'd be like
you're looking for-
animated, and it goes, here's a code. You have to take that code and you have to download some other extension to put that code in to make it do whatever it's supposed to do.
I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is this. What you should do is you should start a children's YouTube channel, and then you should go into...
Yeah, it is weird.
Okay, well, it's
But
only
no,
weird
but
because
it's
you're
a good
making it
market.
weird.
It's a good market.
It's a great market, and they have the most advertising money. My point is this. You make this channel, and then you go into ChatGPT, and you say, write me a 2-minute kid story surrounding, and create a character, Bobby the Rabbit. And then literally just start uploading. There's a fucking program you can use where you then upload the script, and it will create you a YouTube video with images. And then just start uploading like 10 of those a day.
And so I don't think I can just download that program onto my phone. Not that if I could do all this and I had a laptop, I would do it, but
I should do this.
I was going to say, why are you suggesting he did?
or
Why am
we
I
should do it
suggesting
together.
Yeah, you mean I do everything? And
Well, no,
you
I have the Chat GPT.
Chat GPT.
You press the button.
you press the button.
Like, I have this thing that anyone can get. I got it for free.
No, he pays $20 a
Oh,
month.
sorry.
They talked more than that. They talked about the fall of Star Wars.
Yeah,
That just shows that anything's possible to be run into the ground. Because I can't remember. I think it was Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar.
You'd love him.
No, I just like people
You love
pronouncing
him.
things properly.
You love Jar Jar. But up until that point, it was a sacred sort of movie story, that compare everything to as something I cared about. And now it's just, did we outgrow it or did it run itself into the ground?
No, it got terrible.
Well, I mean, I think anything, if you're going to sell something to Disney for that amount of money, they're going to try to run it into the ground. And that's what they did. Same with Marvel.
Have you guys seen Return of the Jedi?
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack the brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to find out what year a movie came out,
Simon,
how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office.
is this the second one?
This is the third one.
Gotcha.
I saw it on the Somerset Theater way back at a certain time in my life. Starring Mark Hamill, who is the worst. Luke is the worst of all of them. Harrison Ford's a pimp, Carrie Fisher, Billy D. Williams, Anthony Daniels, David Prowse, Kenny Baker, Peter Mayhew, who is Chewbacca, maybe Bigfoot,
I'm Billy D. Williams.
Frank Oz, who I guess did Yoda.
All right. I think I'm ready.
All right, I have a year. I said the year of my birth, 1983.
I said 1988, and I am correct.
Return of the Jedi came out on 1983.
Oh,
Wow, we're in play. Simon's upset.
All right, Simon, you're going to start.
I said it cost 58 million, and it made 797.
I said it cost 40 and I made 624.
You are so close. $42.7 million for the budget.
Whoa.
Box office, $482 million.
You're pretty fucking close.
Up by 200 million.
100, no, it was 100,
Still close.
160.
100 million, whatever. It's what a great start. What a great movie game. Thank you, everyone, for
So
listening.
wait, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
The original Star Wars came out in 77.
Yeah.
Empire came out in 1980.
Yeah. So every 3 years they were releasing one.
I thought Return came out way after that.
No.
I think there's such a big gap between Return and whatever.
I was happy when he said it because I was like, I'm certain this came out the year I was born. Like, I was like, I'm almost 100%.
That's interesting.
So you would have
because
known what-
Star Wars the original came out the year I was born.
There you go.
1977.
But that's a funny thing when people are like, you didn't like Star Wars growing up. And I'm like, well, the last one came out the year I was born. So I'm not really in, like, I know that some people still.
I only like Return was the only one that, like, as a kid, I liked.
Well, of
I thought
course.
the other ones were boring.
You are into Pokemon.
No.
Yes. And Arthur and fucking
Arthur? Who the fuck's Arthur?
Teletubbies.
How
Arthur
young
is
do you
the
think I
aardvark.
am?
They were talking about how they fucked
Peppa
up
Pig.
the animatronics with Yoda, and then now they redid it all. I think that'll be another good thing about AI is it'll have like animal fight simulations, which you've always wanted, but it's always been inhumane. But it'll be able to
No, Simon will get animals fucking simulation.
that too. Whatever you want.
Different animals fucking each other.
course,
We
that's
never
the
even
goal.
A
thought of
gorilla
that.
and a bear,
Yeah.
whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Something sort of sexual, like a pig fucking a monkey.
Or some yin yang
pig and a
polar bear on a
monkey.
black bear.
Yeah.
A
We don't want any of that jungle. love.
giraffe and a rhinoceros.
Ooh, that'd be hot. The giraffe would have to bend down.
And it will
so
look
far.
real.
And it will look real.
So that's another positive of AI.
What's another positive of Brian Redban?
Anything he touches turns to gold.
Apparently.
Anything he touches turn to gold. Have you guys seen Dune?
Remember, he
Saw the
started
first
Death
one.
Squad too, right?
Yes.
Which is the beginning of everything.
Listen, dude, I'm
He's like
telling
the
you.
Forrest Gump of podcasts.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
And we just thought he was a butthole Olive Garden guy.
Well, when he's talking about like, oh, I just bought this Porsche and I now have a second house closer to the state, I'm just like,
It also shows you, though, how fucking inept all of these guys were at the internet and how inept they still are at like any audio visual. Because like Tony went to him because he was the only guy he knew that could set the whole thing up at a club to go the way they go, right? Where, meanwhile, Brian's like, all I had to do was bring an iPad and two cords and like anyone could do this. I think that's really it. He's like, he just right place, right time every time.
yeah, and it's just worked out as a perfect.
or he's really
Symbiotic
good
relationship.
at finding.
Talent.
I was going to say the shark to leech off of. You
I mean,
know?
it's actually crazy to think because I always remembered it as like Tony was on Joe and that's how they got together. I can't believe it straight up Brian brought Tony into the mix. It's nuts.
And that's the movie game. But I mean, he just keeps getting better and better. We used to loathe Brian.
God, imagine you find out that like Brian went after Joe because he just needed a face for his podcasting.
His empire.
You know what I mean? It just ends up that Joe becomes the richest guy or the most popular person in the world.
And again, as Joe is mostly in these episodes, it's just Brian's a sounding board that just agrees always. It's also sort of a podcast with Jamie.
Yeah, it is nice.
I find
yeah,
there's
you
sort
got
of three
Jamie.
guests.
Yeah,
I thought it was. I thought to myself, if he ever tried to get rid of Jamie, like without Jamie just leaving on his own, there would be such an uproar. But not so much with Brian. You know what I mean? Like everybody was fine with that.
What you would see is you'd see Joe's true side because whoever came into that job would not do half the Googling job, and Joe would just be fucking livid half the time. Like
I think though Brian was a producer co-host. Jamie's just a producer.
There's only one person that could replace Jamie. AI.
no, we saw that even AI can't replace Jamie.
someone-
It's not
In
quick
this
enough.
version, but once ChatGPT 17
Yeah.
is out,
Joe's just waiting for that. He's
in
like,
the
Jamie,
Reddit
you're on the clock.
predicted that'll be the future.
AI Jamie.
Joe just talking to AI.
No, the future will be
that-
Joe won't even be there. It'll just be AI Joe.
That'll be like his sort of Tim Dillon ranting, and it's just a sounding board, a face to.
I mean, how hard can it be to repeat the same talking points every episode ad nauseum for 10 plus years?
Not hard.
AI could do that.
Is that it? We're done.
I like to watch kangaroo fights.
I give this one a 1.5.
I give it
You want to watch kangaroos fight each other or humans fight kangaroos?
kangaroos fighting each other because they really put their dukes up.
Yeah.
Well, then they kick with their feet.
Yeah.
Because they stand on their tails, which is very interesting.
It's a nice balancing.
I wonder if they fuck like that too. Balancing on their tail.
I mean, it's tough to take it from behind with that massive tail, right? True. What do you rate it? I give it a 1.5.
I give it a 1.
Kamar?
I still give it a 2.
Okay. All right, that's it. If you made it this far, thank you so much. We want to shout out BetterHelp for supporting the show, sponsoring the show. We want to thank the Patreon members. You can join the Patreon for as little as $5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you get the post show. It's the show of the show. We shoot the shit. You'll also get a bunch of old episodes of old shit we did. There's a bunch there. Tons of shit. That's it. We hope you have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Keep your eyes open.